was totally wicked!
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? We got the whole crew back in the house.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, that's right.
What's up? What's up, guys?
I tell you what's up. I gave you a compliment this morning, and you didn't take it.
I'm sorry. Compliments from you, Nicholas, or just...
I'm a sincere person.
Oh, speaking about Nicholas, I got your RSVP in the mail.
Yeah.
I didn't know your name was like Santa Claus.
What?
You didn't know my name was
Do
actually
you know
Nicholas?
how he spells his name?
It's
how
like
he
Jack,
spells Nicholas?
like Jack Nicklaus, the golfer, the
Yeah.
golden bear.
Golfer.
So
It's
what
like
do you mean?
Santa
You
Claus.
thought there was a K in there, though, right?
Well, like
Santa
normal,
Claus spells
like,
his name that way.
Yes. It's like Nickel Claus.
Nicholas.
Nickel Claus.
A lot of people think I'm German. They think it's Niklaus.
Yes, it
let's
looks
start
like
calling
that.
him Niklaus.
Yeah.
When he
I know.
goes on those crazy rants.
I wanted to tell you
Niklaus
before we
coming
got
out.
on
And then
air,
like
so we could
heil me or
start
something.
making fun of him.
Oh my gosh.
This is different. I wasn't expecting that.
Well, I'm glad I could throw you a curveball.
Yeah.
I try to do that from time to time.
I laughed a lot about it, but
Oh, you did?
I did.
That's good. I could have got a phone call.
no, I just
know.
wanted to do it on air today.
Okay.
Hey, by the way, real quick.
By the way, wait, before you get to that, just hold off. I know that's official, but we're going off with the road a little bit. I told Roz, what I say, you look nice today, or don't you look beautiful this
you did
morning, or
say
something?
that. Mhm.
That was a sincere compliment. Like I like the patterns
Like
and stuff
the-
you had going. No,
like the
ignore
hair
that
is
part.
crazy.
Ignore that part. I don't think that's a style though. The messy bun,
Yeah.
that's a style. It is.
Right.
But no, I thought the color scheme of everything you were wearing, I thought and that was a genuine.
That is a fundamental rejection.
What are you doing?
It's a fundamental rejection, is what.
I mean, that's perfect timing.
Anyway, never mind. Right? You look awful.
Thank you.
You look awful this morning.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
See,
You do too.
I don't get it.
See, you say things like that so I
Women.
can just
Women.
give it right back to you.
What were you doing? Didn't you have an announcement, Mr. Henry?
Oh, yeah,
Something
sure.
part of
Right,
your
yeah,
job?
announcement. Right, yeah, part of the job. Yeah, you want to check out our website, give it away the month, enter for your chance to win 4 tickets to the Tennessee Smokies baseball game, plus an opportunity to throw out a ceremonial first pitch at one of the games.
Really?
Apparently. So says the paper in front of me, which is a pretty cool deal.
That is.
And if you need any training on how to get that pitch right in the strike
please.
zone,
Oh,
right
please.
across the line,
Spare everybody.
just give me a call. I'll let you know. 4 free tickets. I suppose this works like all the other ones. You can go to any one of these home games. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know about that yet.
For the time being, that's what we're going to say until I'm proven otherwise. Becky's going to come running in here in just a minute. No.
Probably will. Exactly.
Yeah. Becky does a great job getting all
And
the stuff
so
set
it
up
is
for us.
written.
By the way, we are the new home of the Smokies.
Yeah.
You just want to go to talkradio923.com. That's talkradio923.com. Enter for your chance to win there. This ends on the 30th of this month.
Did you listen to the show yesterday, Nick? Be honest.
Not the whole show. No.
Okay. Anyway, so he's talking to Connor.
What?
No, it's not because of that. He's talking to Connor. I wanted you to listen to this part.
Okay.
So Connor's in from the Smokies or
You
whatever,
could have
right?
told me this beforehand, and I
then-
would have listened to
and
that
then
part.
Grant. Well, it was random. I didn't know it was coming up. And then Grant's
You
talking
did
to him.
after
and he
you
goes,
listened to it.
He goes, so what's the fastest pitch over there in those batting cages behind the top? See, you remember? He thinks that literally he wanted to know that it was
He
Grant
does stuff like
Henry
this all the time.
that
He does stuff
did
like
the
this.
fastest pitch in this batting cage behind the stadium.
If you take my numbers in reverse,
I wanted to call so bad and call you out, but I'm just going to do it today. I thought that was hilarious.
I pitched at 68, and he said the fastest pitch was about high 80s, and I was like,
Who
bro.
said 68?
So that
I
wasn't
did.
you.
That was the thing this night.
Was it?
Yeah, I won like $50 that night. You don't remember?
No,
this?
you didn't.
I did too.
He really did.
How does nobody else
He
remember
really
this?
did.
Yeah, I won like
I don't
$50, and then I beat
Yeah,
Mr. Crawford.
it was
Everybody threw in for the
I know,
bet.
I know that, Ross. I'm trying to. I'm doing
sorry.
something
I'm
here.
sorry. I would have
Cut your
followed.
mic. Just cut your
I would
mic.
have followed. I just thought it was hilarious.
Hey,
On things like this, you say, I don't recall, and then we
Okay.
get his wife and his mom on it, too, and they say that never happened,
Exactly.
and we just humiliate him.
Actually, the
Okay.
wife and the mom might be in on it. That would probably be backfiring on me.
Oh,
Yeah, they for sure
they
would.
definitely
They for sure
If
would.
you get the sister in, it's guaranteed.
Especially your dad, too.
Now, my dad would always side for me. He would. Yeah, you know, he'd be the empathetic
Not
one.
if we all got him in on it.
Not if your mom wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Hey,
No.
by the way, we got an awesome show lined up for today. Let me do
Oh, yeah.
things about
Lots
what's
of
coming-
controversy, too.
Some stuff going forward, and then I'll let you know what's going on today because Mr. Crawford brought in an awesome guest for us. As far as tomorrow is concerned, we have Eddie Manis on. Should be a very interesting show. Friday, we actually have Sima Singh Perez on from the 9 o'clock hour to about maybe 9:30, 9:45. We got to get Michaela in there as well. Sima Singh Perez will be interesting. Eddie Manis will certainly be interesting, but Perez will be interesting on Friday primarily because that last or alleged last workshop, depending on how many people show up for the Recode Knoxville stuff, will be happening on Thursday. City Council building. Goodness gracious, Recode Mike, Stimpy, somebody correct me on this, let me know. I'm fairly certain it's 5:30. Richard, if you're listening right now, Facebook message me and let me know. Michaela's in Facebook. What's up? Yes, you're here on Friday. And should be interesting here.
Everything's not about you, Michaela.
It is for right now. She's a big part of the show.
You know, I miss that I can't do Fridays anymore. But I miss the banter. Maybe I'll call in.
Yeah, that'll work, yeah.
Like that one time I bombed WC when he was calling
that's
in.
right,
and
yeah.
I called in at the same time.
Just sit on hold and wait for Michaela to
good
need
show.
someone to ping something off of. You know what I mean?
Roz knows what you look at that. See, nobody ever sees that she's not on Facebook Live, and all you hear is her condescending remarks. But you agreed right then, didn't you?
I do. That was a good show.
Yeah.
It
Nick
was.
he looks good with the beard, doesn't he?
I have a beard from
I think
time to
most
time.
Yeah,
look
he
good with a
looks.
beard, yeah.
He looks.
Jesse likes it.
But he's got that full growth beard. You know how some people have real weird. Have you ever seen Keanu Reeves? He's got the strangest patch beard I've ever seen.
Right.
And a lot of guys, unfortunately, can only grow those neck beards, but they still do it anyways. And I think to myself,
the
nah,
neck
bro,
beard is
just
bad.
don't
Usually
try it.
shave that.
Yeah, but Mr. Crawford's got a
Yeah,
healthy growth.
Since I was
It's
8.
like a man
Since
beard.
I was 8, I've been doing this.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should grow it out like I had, bro. I'd like to see you with a full conical beard. And
Oh, that would be cool.
What is that guy that's on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, the animated one? The miner guy.
Isn't he like a lumberjack guy?
Yeah, something like that.
Minor, like he's underage, or like he,
Cornelius, like he mines
He
things.
mines. He's like works in the mine.
Like the Yukon Gold guy. You know what I'm talking about. I know you know this.
Are you doing this for your wedding?
and you know
No.
this.
No, you're
No.
gonna shave.
No, this.
Oh, you're not doing the beard for the
Oh,
wedding?
come on!
Probably
Yeah.
No.
Now
Why?
the fiance wouldn't let him get away with that. Come on.
Nah.
She likes it. He
It's-
said.
Yes, she does.
But the point is, will she like it 20 years from now when they're looking back at wedding photos? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I mean,
how it
it's
goes, yeah.
black tie. You just don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Whatever.
enough
Yeah.
about me and my.
Anyways, yeah, so Sima Singh Perez is going to be interesting on Friday because allegedly it's supposed to be the last workshop for Recode Knoxville. Obviously, Sima Singh Perez is a councilwoman. I'm pretty sure she prefers that title. She just wants me to call her Sima. Either way, she'll be in on Friday. Mr. Crawford, though, let him know who we're talking about today because this is actually going to be one of my favorite guests, probably one of the more entertaining guests we're having.
Oh, it's going to be very entertaining. So who we have on today is a close friend of mine, someone I've known for years. That is State Representative Colton Moore from District 1 in Georgia. And I'm actually, remind me, if I forget, one of y'all remind me to tell y'all or have him tell the story of a fundraiser he went to with the governor, the newly elected governor of Georgia, and they wouldn't let him in. Okay, it's
As a state representative?
As a state representative, and I'll give you a little bit of a pre-show on this. Okay, the girl at the door says, you don't have a ticket. And he says, well, how can I get in? And she said, I don't know, if you were a state rep or something. And I'm just going to leave that there, okay? And
he's 20 something, right?
he's 25 years old. He defeated a 3-term incumbent GOP establishment guy. He spent around $4,000 on his campaign.
Can we stop there for a second? That's incredible.
Yeah, incredibly well-ran
Yeah.
campaign. I had a little bit to do with that. And I'd like to claim some there. You like that?
Yeah, I like it.
And very big conservative. The establishment does not like him whatsoever. He is very close friends with basically everybody that the speaker in Georgia has primaried and paid to have someone run against. He is a international auctioneer. He goes around the world and runs auctions for different countries. Good friends with the president of the Philippines. has a sword in his office from a senator from, I think, Taiwan. I mean, the guy's done everything. He does a trucking company. I mean, just all around small business, hardworking, small town American, and ran for public office, not because it pays a lot, because it does not in Georgia. Look it up. Georgia is one of the lowest paying states for their state reps. I think it's around $17,000. And he does it because he cares. And so he's very candid, says what he thinks. I think he is one of the only honest and truly believable politicians that I know. And so he will be on at the 8 o'clock hour, and we are going to have a completely unreserved conversation where all questions are on the books, nothing's off the table, and there's going to be some interesting answers. You're going to love this guy.
Yeah, and that's the point that we're having him on, is it's sort of to pull the veil back from the proverbial Wizard of Oz, if you will.
It's a tell-all.
Yeah, man, that like you think the strump is drained here in the Southeast. Not really, man.
Mm-hmm.
Local politics is just as much of a, I don't know, man, not rat race, but it is what it is.
And the reasons, and we'll show that, and the reasons behind the abortion bill in Georgia, and talk about the abortion bill in Tennessee as well as some questions I have for a state rep in Tennessee that may not have voted for the abortion bill for some reason.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got to get into that. Hey, hit this first break as it is 7:18 in the morning. Come back with a little creepy Uncle Joe. Creepy Uncle Joe. I got some stuff to say about it. Be right back.
Driving in, I was thinking, when you talk about creepy
Yeah, it's fascinating, the creepy Uncle Joe stuff, because it's just like, there's so many good things to hit on that. Alyssa Milano's coming out now and saying that the same Alyssa Milano who dressed up as like that Handmaid's Tale person behind Brett Kavanaugh now all of a sudden is saying, well, not every woman's experience is the same.
Yeah.
Really?
The hypocrisy.
Yeah, the consistency of the left is consistent. We can go on that for days, man. We can obviously go in like, how much clearer could it be? Clearer word? How much more clear could it be of the motivation that's going on here? The second accuser is a Beto O'Rourke supporter, and it's like, come on, dude. And it's just so goddamn beautiful that it's the left that's attacking Joe Biden now instead of the right. Michaela called you Mr. Lumberjack.
Why? Because of my shirt.
Oh, yeah, I guess that makes sense, too. Oh, by the way, you have a media pass in your box.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. True.
Good to know.
I'd grab it, man. Just flash it anywhere you need to get in. If you want to go to Studio 54 in New York City, part of the media.
That'll work.
Thank you.
You see what Nancy Pelosi said about Joe Biden?
Yeah, I got that clip here.
Okay, the one where she was like, "It doesn't. What he needs to understand is it's not how it's intended; it's how it's received."
I think I had that one, but it's also Nancy Pelosi kind of making the same argument that, oddly enough, like Laura Ingraham and Whoopi Goldberg are making, is like, well, this is just Joe. It's just Joe being Joe. Like, he's always been this way. Which, frankly speaking, is a very interesting argument because it plays into, hang on, bro, like, Whoopi Goldberg's getting upset now that person's waiting 5 years to come out with a claim. Well, how was it, 25 years for Brett Kavanaugh? You know what I mean?
And it kind of excusing going, okay, so it's okay if he's just always like this.
Right,
right. So it's better to just inappropriately touch little girls once versus your entire life.
I know.
That makes it okay.
And it's this weird sort of awkward line that's being drawn by the left now of like, now all of a sudden they want to have a nuanced conversation of, well, grabbing butts is one thing. That's clearly sexual assault. But, massaging up on a girl's shoulders and kissing the back of her head, that's not really sexual assault. It's like, I don't know your standards anymore. Like, I just don't know your standards anymore.
The hair sniffer.
Yeah. Joe Biden, the hair sniffer.
Coming to a theater near you.
Felicia.
How you doing, girl?
She got an industry going, that Felicia girl does.
Now, why are you seeing more comments? I only see Felicia's. That's it.
Did she comment or just she jumped in?
No, she commented.
What'd she say? I didn't see Felicia's comment.
Praying for your dad, Felicia.
What happened?
She's at UT Hospital this morning with her dad, who's having a minor outpatient thing.
Oh. What, did she say that on Facebook?
Yeah, just now.
I'm not seeing any of
See,
that.
isn't this weird?
Yeah. Did anyone share this yet?
I did.
Because that's probably why you're seeing it, is...
It's on my share.
Yeah.
Ah.
If someone follows your share, then they might get your comments.
You're right. That's it.
Now I need to see Ross. Ross, get in here!
Bob, mine's a Mac.
This is a Surface Pro, Bob. Yeah, he's got a newer Mac than I do. I got the Mevo running on this phone. I got the comments running here. I have my prep running here. And I have my audio running here. We're ready, bro.
What does Kyle want to see?
Kyle?
Kyle says he wants
Everybody wants to see Ross. Ross!
Rise.
Ross!
Rise.
Ross!
We're going to put you on camera, girl.
Yeah, everybody wants to see you.
Everybody wants to see the beautiful Rise.
They want to see that crazy bun.
Yeah, the crazy bun. I like that.
Hey, you don't think Hillary will find out about this, do you?
I balanced the budget. That's so hot.
Yeah, balance your budget, girl. Equilibrium, you know what I'm talking about?
You want your budget balanced?
Oh, man, I'm the budget balancer. It's going to be huge.
All right, here we
I know
go.
we all got that creepy uncle out there.
Hey, Kyle, what are you doing?
Well, this is a song dedicated to those creepy uncles who are just trying to be involved.
Yeah. I love you, Kyle.
Yo, my uncle, he is so creepy. Always be lurking around the house so sneaky. Even though he lives 10 hours away, he's always over, almost too ready to play. Like when we go swimming in our bathing suits, he gets mad when we tell him skinny dipping. We play Sorry Man, my favorite board game. He changes it to strip. Sorry Man, that's not okay.
Yeah, boy. If you think I'm creepy, wait.
That got real creepy real fast, actually.
Sounds like Joe Biden.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
It really does. I was trying to find a creepy old. You have to watch the creepy old Joe compilations that they put together
Yeah.
with Joe Biden, but this one was just a little.
I'm glad you paired that with the Bill Clinton thing. we did.
Yeah, it was.
Hey.
I'll balance your budget, girl.
I bet Bill Clinton could pick up a girl that way. You want your budget balanced?
Oh,
your budget
for sure,
balance?
yeah.
I'm the best of the budget balancers. In a budget balancing contest, I come in number one every time.
And I like at the very end of that bumper that it transitioned to Trump somehow. It's like Bill Clinton was trying to hit on a girl and just pick up Trumpisms. I'll balance your budget's going to be huge.
I bet Joe Biden sits
He
up at
always
night.
does. Every time he does, Bill Clinton, it always transitions into Trump for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
me?
Yes.
I do it for long enough, and then I don't know. That I guess I want it to be Trump. I don't know, but
It's like Clinton and Trump are trying to hit on the same Playboy model at the same time.
Yeah.
now,
You know?
and if you put
Stormy, get over here.
Joe Biden in there at the same time,
Yeah, and then he put Joe Biden in there.
you know, he'd be like, "Hey, girl, you know," I can't do a Joe Biden. Someone's do it in the Bill Clinton voice. He'd be like, "Hey, girl, you know." What is that thing he said about the 7-Eleven? You can't go to a 7-Eleven in Pennsylvania unless you got a slight Indian accent. I bet he
No.
likes the Indian girls.
He said that?
Yeah, he said that.
He said a lot of stuff.
He has said a lot
that
of
guy,
stuff.
He also said something about Barack Obama. He's a different kind of African-American president, one that's extremely articulate.
You know, clean shaven, speaks well, he knows his alphabet,
He's
stuff
a
like
different
that.
kind because he's not from here.
Well, if ever there was a microaggression, Joe Biden knows how to throw him out there with the best.
Right.
And then
I'll say that much, good Lord.
his security alarm advice there, he told his wife, he said, "Hey, Jill, you know, if someone ever tries to break in the front door, you just go run up to the front porch balcony, shoot off 2 blasts from the shotgun, and they'll go running." That was his firearm advice there.
By the way, the reason why we're speaking about Joe Biden, let me say this ahead of time. I don't think it's any surprise to anybody that the reason why these Joe Biden claims or accusers are coming out right now is clearly because they want to take Joe Biden down from being the front runner of the presidential candidates. And it's interesting. It's not interesting. Is not even the word. I don't know if it's delicious. I don't know if it's just nice. I don't know if it's just they finally get their comeuppance. If the I don't know the logic of their own worldview is collapsing. And I don't know how to phrase it. But it is a fracturing the Democrat Party where they are starting to eat their own. And maybe this is nothing new in Democrat Party in general. You know what I'm saying? But a Kamala Harris is looking at this. A Beto O'Rourke is looking at this. And the second accuser coming out is a very staunch Beto O'Rourke supporter.
Well, Joe Biden is old guard in the Democrat Party.
Right.
He's not one of those new faces that so many people in the left are going for. He is not the AOC crowd. He brings back, I hate to say it, but brings back some kind of normalcy, some kind of semi-sense to the Democrat Party?
Well, but here's what's going on, Nick. It's because, look, Joe Biden's claim to fame at this point, unfortunately for either Joe Biden or Joe Biden supporters, or maybe the Democrat Party in general, his claim to fame is not even that he's a senator. If he was just running as a career politician of a senator, he wouldn't win. His claim to fame now is being tied in his allegiance to Barack Obama.
He's Obama's lapdog.
But
that's who he is.
Here's the problem with that, though, Nick, is that at this point in history now, Obama's only been out of the presidency for, what, two and a half, 3 years now? Obama is not nearly progressive enough for the majority of this party.
But you saw that they brought Barack Obama. He lives in D.C. still. They brought Barack Obama in and had a kind of come to Jesus dad sit-down meeting with all the freshman Democrat senators, or there weren't any senators, but representatives, to kind of rein him in. Yeah. And it was kind of a conversation of, all right, kids, we've let you play, but look, that's not how this is. That's crazy, though. If you're saying that Barack Obama is not radical enough for you, Barack Obama, you realize this. I know you did, Mr. Henry, but I'm saying in general to people, Barack Obama had card-carrying communists working for his administration in the White House. That's not me just saying, the Democrats are a bunch of commies. No, I mean devout members of the Communist Party were working in his administration. And now the leftist and the Democrat Party are saying that wasn't progressive enough for them. Yeah. Do you understand? I'm trying to put this in terms that it's very clear to see here. It's just like when you talk about $1 trillion. That's hard to understand. Let me show you here how far left they are going. The commies are not far left enough for these new age Democrats. That's why I don't like Joe Biden.
And the most progressive thing that Obama ever pushed, arguably, obviously, was Obamacare.
Yeah.
Right? And arguably was this at least conversation that started of a full single-payer system. That was the most progressive. That is square one now. That is the starting point of all of these Democrat representatives or congressmen or senators or anybody that's running for presidential office right now. Yes, exactly.
I mean, the Democrat, if you want to be a new age Democrat, you've got to be a staunch proponent of abortion, and not it's got to be completely liberating and freedom, and that's how you've got to talk about it. You've got to be pro-universal health care. You've got to be gung-ho on the new Green Deal, which, by the way, if you saw what President Trump said yesterday, he said, if I lose to a Democrat over the new Green Deal, then I deserve to lose.
I would take that to the bank.
Did you also see his Joe Biden comment? I forgot, I don't know what the context of it was. I saw the clip, but I didn't know what he said earlier in his speech. But Donald Trump yesterday, it was the funniest thing ever. He's giving a speech, and Trump is up there. He's talking about some general did something really well, and he said, I just wanted to give him a big old kiss. And he made like a hugging motion. This is the president doing this. And he said, I was channeling my inner Joe Biden. The president of the United States says that. I mean, and the room loses it. It was the funniest thing ever that Trump is trolling Biden, saying he just kisses everybody and hugs everybody.
Hey, by the way, speaking about sort of this litmus test of being a Democrat member of the Democrat Party now, obviously we know that Tom Perez almost 2 summers ago came out and essentially said, hey, there's no such thing as a pro-life Democrat anymore. No. Not my words, Tom Perez's words, okay?
The chairman of the Democrat Party at the time.
In that vein, has anyone heard of this new movie called Unplanned?
Okay. That movie, I have not seen it yet. I was trying to see it this weekend. I just couldn't work it out. One, they're being censored on social media.
Which is only working out in their favor, but yeah.
Yeah, it is. And it happened to me. I followed them, and then I checked the next day and saw all these things about them being censored. I had been unfollowed. They had removed my following from their account.
Yeah, that's what they did to a lot of followers. And because there was such a stink made about it, now that movie, the Unplanned movie, has more followers than Planned Parenthood has followers on Twitter, which I think is just fantastic.
And the movie was a hit at the box office.
Yeah, number 4 or 5 over the weekend
for something like that. There was only in 1,000 theaters.
Yeah.
It's, not a big budget movie. It's not a Marvel movie or something like that.
Right.
It did amazingly well. People that are not political are talking about Jesse, my fiance, you know that, but wanted to see this movie. She knew about
Well,
it.
the reason why I bring that up too is the story is based off an individual named Abby Johnson. She's one of the youngest clinic directors in Planned Parenthood's history. This is a story about her resigning in October 2009. She states that she resigned after watching an abortion during an ultrasound happen and seeing the baby wince. Obviously, they could feel pain. That individual, Abby Johnson, who the movie is based off, will actually be on Real News on Tuesday. So you definitely want to stick around for that interview as well. 7:32 in the morning. Hit this news break
That's
right
big
now.
time.
Yeah, that's big time. Yeah, that's Becky and John, though. I can't take credit for that one. 7:32, hit this news break, come back with a little bit of creepy Uncle Joe. Then you definitely want to stick around for the 8 o'clock hour. Representative Colton Moore,
Yeah. He'll be,
Georgia State Representative. And when we come back, let's hit Rico and Michael's call, see what he's talking about. Be right back.
Name is Joe Biden. He's our nation's 47th vice president. His foot is always in his mouth. Republicans must think that he was heaven sent. Every time Joe speaks, Obama must be thinking, here we go again. Who's the politician always saying something stupid? It's Joe Biden.
Great music. Yeah, that Abby Johnson interview was a big score.
Yeah.
Shoot, if I can get her to retweet some unplanned stuff. Hook me up with some of your followers, Abby Johnson. Richard's telling me that John Adams interviewed Bill Dunn, and this was the reason for not voting.
It's an AP story talking about a federal judge striking it down. The same reason why I'm like, okay, so that's a cop out.
So it is what we said then, that they didn't want to waste either
Yeah.
taxpayer money or give it to Planned Parenthood or something.
Okay, so you just don't try anymore because you think there's a big enough fight. My
Right.
position still stands.
Bob, the interview with Abby Johnson, yes, that is confirmed. It actually is happening Monday, pre-recorded. We only have about 15 minutes with her because I'm sure she has 1,000 interviews going on right now. But it's going to be happening. Actually, I'll probably stream it on Facebook if you guys just want to taste of what's going on with it. I'll do that for the Facebook audience. It's happening Monday at 10:20 a.m. So we'll air it live on air Tuesday. So if you guys want a double dose of it or something. But yeah, Abby Johnson is on the show. I guess Facebook on Monday, but the real show on Tuesday.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, because it's 10:20. We'll be off air. Glenn Beck ain't getting her, though.
Oh, boy!
Actually, Glenn Beck probably
Already
call her right
now.
now. Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, dang it. Glenn Beck had her last week.
So Trump finally, I think, is showing signs of aging.
Why?
Look at this picture of him. He looks older there.
Oh, yeah, dude, but that's
He's
what the
lost
presidency
weight.
does to you.
Yeah.
Bro, I swear, man, I swear they have to give these presidents something, man. Like,
Some kind of super pill.
my buddy had narcolepsy, man, and they gave him this pill. They gave him this pill that they give to fighter pilots, and this is what he explained to me. I don't know if it's true or not, but they give him this pill that apparently they give to fighter pilots when they go on these flights that are 36 hours, 48 hours, and they have to refuel in air or something like that.
Based like meth.
Well, but they say it's like an Adderall or Ritalin, but without like the jitter. It's just like a pure conscious, like lucid awareness for like 2 solid days straight.
Yeah.
Like you don't hit that weird version where you're hallucinating and seeing stuff. I swear they have to give presidents that or something, because every single president, you look in the beginning of their presidency.
I mean, that's not natural. The amount they age.
No,
Like, think about us on our most stressful times in our lives, and we don't look like that. I mean, think of the amount of stress that must.
I'm sure on day one they get him. It's like, all right, here's who really killed JFK. Here's the aliens.
Yeah.
Hold on, dude. I'm telling
by the
24
way, the North
hours.
Koreans are wanting to do this.
Right, yeah.
This person tried to invade, but we're not telling people that.
Here's the actual big red button if you hit it. You know what I mean? Like, who knows what they're going through?
But
they
that's
look,
up to you, man.
Yeah,
You know?
right? They look awful after 8 years, man.
I mean, but look at this. I mean, like the lines around his eyes. I mean, that's new.
No, I know.
And even his hair, you could tell it wasn't. It was thinning pretty much. But you can tell, like, if you look at the light, I think he's bald, like halfway up his head.
Bro, honestly, I think you should just shave all of it.
Yeah.
How much more menacing of Donald Trump would it be if he just went straight Mr. Clean with it?
Oh, I think he would be bad.
He would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would basically be like the Republican Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
Right?
Or at least do the Dick Cheney, like just side,
Yeah. He should just go full terrible with it. Shave the top, grow a rat tail out.
He'd be bad.
Just a balding
Not
mullet.
the Mr. T look.
Yeah, you should do a Mr. T. Take that comb over, just put it in a mohawk in the middle.
Hey, fool.
Yeah, I pity the fool. Pity the fool that runs against me.
Talk about you, Nancy.
I pity the fool that claims that they're Native American. I pity the fool. Yeah, that's right. I'm old enough to remember Mr. T. All right, so I guess the reason why they voted present is because they knew it was going to get shut down. Is that what you're saying, Richard? Which, again, I understand, but I think Nick's point is if you vote present on a heartbeat bill just because you know it's going to be challenged by Planned Parenthood, that's kind of admitting defeat before you even start to make a challenge.
So we're just not going to vote for anything that we think is going to be overturned in court or that we have enough opposition to? That's weak.
Well, see, and that's why it would be extremely helpful to have a Lafferty or someone like that on so they could speak for themselves. And maybe that's not what the
that's how I would treat
decision
them. I
is.
would genuinely ask them, give me your full thought process here, and let's see if you can change my mind. Because right now, it just looks like, you just weren't up for a fight. Or give me a better plan. If you think that's going to happen, fine, then what are you doing about it?
I don't know, man. Yeah, I was talking. If that is what it is, you just didn't want to spend, needless taxpayer dollars on defending something that's inevitably going to be shut down in a federal court system, anyways. It's one of two things. First of all, why even push the bill then, if for nothing more, just to make some moral case about it? Yeah. And secondly, I was telling Nick, what were we talking 2 days ago? Yesterday, 2 days ago. I was saying if East Tennesseans, or let's just say Tennesseans in general, are willing to spend taxpayer money to fight about anything. Yeah. We got a $2 billion surplus. I think we'd be willing to spend money on
to save babies' lives.
I don't know, man.
Maybe I'm wrong. The point, don't we want this to go to court? Because aren't we one of enough states to make it go to the Supreme Court and then rule on this?
Ultimately, though, regardless of how Lafferty feels about it, I'll say I think the most important thing is how Lafferty's constituents feel about it. What is the 89th district? I think that's right. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 89.
Yeah, it is. It is, yeah.
I would be interested to see what those people that voted for him think about that.
Because I did consider that. Well, maybe he thinks his district is split on this.
I mean, even if they're not, I don't think this is a make or break vote. I mean, do you think of like the gas tax? Like I know several people that would not vote their representative back in just because of that gas tax.
I don't think it's as apparent as the gas tax is, but I've been seeing a lot of stuff on Facebook about these reps that didn't vote. Like, why are they not voting for this? Yeah, I mean, just me personally, like he's not my rep, but I'm remembering this. I mean, I've got it in my back of my mind going, oh, you didn't vote for this.
Yeah. And again, like I'm saying, coming from the perspective and the background that I have, that I totally understand that reasoning. But at the same time, I'm kind of stuck because I also understand what Nick is saying too of, yes, and I think you understand this, Nick. Yes, you're not making the claim that it will not inevitably fail at the court system.
No, I think it will.
Yeah.
I kind of want it to.
Because it always has before.
I want it to.
Every state that's ever pushed before
because I want it to go to the Supreme Court, and I want the Supreme Court to either rule that this is not unconstitutional or throw it back to the states and say states can do what they want on this. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And if we can stop this for a few months in the meantime before it gets struck down in court, even if it survives a day, and we save babies' lives on this for a day, was that not worth it?
And let's be honest, bro, a lot of this stuff we're going to have to pull back up when we have Colton on, or maybe some conversation afterwards. Let's be honest. If we're just letting Democrats get away carte blanche with 42-week abortion allowances and having casual conversations about infanticide, but we can't push a 6-week abortion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like...
Did we not learn this lesson already? I mean, they're taking our lunch money and we just keep giving it to them.
Right.
That's what the mentality of that.
I mean, even if you don't agree with a 6-week abortion ban, think about the strategy behind what's going on, right? I mean...
Right there, do the creep.
The creep.
Yeah. Coming up behind women like this right here.
And then like midway through the song, they go, Joe, 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 Joe.
As he's massaging someone's neck and sniffing their hair.
I really thought his song was, what is that? It's by T-Rex, the Let's Get It On song. Not the one you're thinking of. Not the...
Let's Get It On.
No, not that one.
Right,
that one's a good one too. It's something else. You know what I'm talking about? Look it up, Roz. It's Get It On.
Who are you saying?
Not T-Rex. It's Get It On.
Is this what kids listen to nowadays?
This is a classic rock band.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll
Look it up. I think this is what Joe Biden has on his head all the time. This is what he's thinking.
Hey, before we get too much into the Joe Biden conversation, let's go to Recode. Michael's been hanging on for a minute here. What's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, good morning. I think the song is Bang a Gong.
Bang a Gong. Yeah, that's the official one. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Michael.
Best audience in the nation.
Glad to pinch hit for you.
Hey, checks in the mail, man.
Well, I'm calling with great news. So one of our friends checked with the Election Commission yesterday, and we have the number of signatures required to put recode on the ballot, and it is a low number.
Oh, wow.
7,000 signatures.
Wait, you've already garnered those, or is those commitments to sign?
We have found out how many we have to have.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And let me just say, if I was one of these city council people like Seema Perez or Mr. Roberto, or especially Marshall Stair, since he's running for mayor, I would simply make a motion in the next city council meeting to put recode on the ballot, because at 7,000 signatures, we'll get those signatures.
Yeah.
So it's going on the ballot. Come on.
And Michael, help me out here. Help the Real News audience out, but if I can speak candidly, help me out a little bit here to figure out the actual mechanisms behind what we're talking about here, how this practically moves itself out. Now, we talking 7,000 within the entire county, 7,000 of just the city?
Okay. It's 7,000 within the city.
Okay, gotcha.
You have to be a registered voter.
Okay.
Now, one thing that we have not checked out is, when do you have to be a registered voter? Let's say that you sign the recode ballot petition and then went and registered to vote. Would that count? And I think the answer is yes.
I would agree with you on that. I'm not a lawyer, but I would agree. I would think it would be whatever that September deadline is, or whatever.
Registered by that time,
You know, to actually vote in the election, I would think would be it.
Yes, and so we could combine a voter registration drive. So this is fantastic news, because recode does need to be on the ballot. It's really the people's property rights. They're the ones that should make the decision. If this product is as good as they say it is, and folks in the radio audience, it's not. It's the worst zoning product I've ever seen in my life. But it's the people's property rights, so they have a right to make the decision. Also, Grant, I sent you an email, and I wanted to see if you got it. Did you get that knoxmobility.org?
I did, actually. I was going to bring that up probably during the 9 o'clock hour, but I did get that email. Yes, sir.
Okay, now this is fascinating. We've got Stephanie Welch, who wants so badly for people to use public transportation that she's willing to penalize people that use cars. That is not representation. That's somebody telling you how to live. And that's not the way our representative republic works. So this knoxmobility.org, which you can find on the internet, tells us what the break-evens that you need for public transit. In Austin, Texas, they've determined the break-even is 16 persons per acre. That's a lot of people. In Knoxville, we have 2.95 people, almost 3 people per acre in Knoxville. In the county, it's 2 people per acre. I got news for you. I don't know that we're going to do any better with public transit than we are right now. I'm not sure mathematically we could. You'd have to increase the population of Knoxville by a factor of 5 times.
Hey, and Michael, I want to make sure we answer all these Facebook questions before we run out of time here. Literally everybody and their mother in Facebook is asking, how do we sign this petition? Before we get to that, though, let me just get some of the other details out of the way. Am I understanding this correctly, that if and when we do receive these 7,000 signatures, it essentially takes that recode out of the hands of NPC, out of the hands of the city council, until and unless this new like you said, it makes it a ballot issue as opposed to giving city council carte blanche or giving NPC ability to just sort of arbitrarily rule on it?
NPC has already voted.
Gotcha.
So, and let me tell you, that's one of the reasons why it has to go to the ballot. NPC never finished their job. And as JB has told us so many times, now this is an entity that gets $6 million from the taxpayers every year, $3 million going to salary. They never finished recode. Recode's not even halfway done. It's a pitiful product. So what happened is they just got tired of it. They were frustrated, and they just voted to punt it. That's what Nick Della Volpe said. They punted it to city council. And Gerald Green said, Well, Charles Swanson, the city attorney, says it's been vetted enough. No, it hasn't. It's not even done. So city council, and remember, these are 9 people that have no experience in planning. They have no training. They have no knowledge. They have no experience. Stephanie Welch has a master's degree in nutrition. She didn't know anything about zoning. She obviously doesn't know anything about mass transit. So here's the thing. If they had done this first thing, it cannot take 50 years of zoning and in 2 years say, ta-da, we've replaced 50 years of case law. You can't do that. They should have taken it in more manageable bites. It should have probably been broken into at least 4 sections.
Yeah, and as I was saying yesterday, too, it just doesn't seem like a coherent argument to me to say, well, it hasn't been changed in 50 years, therefore it needs to be changed now. Something doesn't follow there logically. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Sounds like an excuse to me.
Well, yeah, if it hasn't been changed in 50 years, then what's the difference in not being changed in 51
so far.
years? Yeah, maybe it's working, but Michael, before we get past this here, literally, like I said, everybody in Facebook's asking, please tell us where can we sign this. Are we ready yet to give out a website, or is this just sort of in the formation period? Is there anything people can do right now to go sign this?
All right. This is East Tennessee. We have manners here. What I'm suggesting is that the people that are going to attend the workshop this Thursday at 5:30 politely ask the city council to put recode on the ballot. Give them a chance. I mean, that's the polite way. And if people go up there and say, please put this on the ballot, it's our right to make the decision, and they decline, well, then we'll start a website. And quite frankly, the last time we had a big ballot initiative, that was during the wheel tax, and the internet was not the internet of today. You know that we could just simply put this on a Facebook page where you could print it out, and it basically would be a paragraph saying what recode is and why we're putting it on the ballot. There would be 2 check boxes. Are you a Knoxville resident? Are you a registered voter in Knoxville? And then your signature in blue ink, please, with the date. Those could be mailed to, I guess we would probably have it mailed to a P.O. box where we could get a count, and then we would take it to the election commission.
Right.
And then they would vet that everybody is a registered voter, and then, boom, it's on the ballot.
Gotcha.
But let's be polite. Let's give city council the opportunity to put it on the ballot. Now, if I'm seeing Perez, I'm thinking, they're going to put it on the ballot. What the heck? Let's put it on the ballot. If I'm in city council, I'm thinking this is a great way to get this stinking thing off my plate.
No, I hear you.
But
look, to your point of what you said before, Bob just in Facebook said everybody currently in here hit that little old share button too, trying to share this to get this, because you just made the point there as well. I mean, we're living in the day and age of viral culture, of viral sensations. Of if enough people, if we get 35 shares in this video right now and 2,000 people end up seeing this, if even a third of them are in the city of Knoxville, if they tell a friend who tells a friend, now all of a sudden we're onto something. And I don't know, Michael, I agree with you about being polite, but at this point too, I kind of want to say if it is true that allegedly Thursday is the last time tomorrow is the last time we have to do something about this, I would like myself or somebody else to get up there and as politely, as cordially as possible, say, hey, I want to give you, city council, the opportunity to do this first, because we realize now that it only takes 7,000 signatures. Michael, do you know the population of Knox City? I mean, I guarantee it's obviously larger than 7,000, but how many registered voters there are that we could pull from right now?
Knoxville has 180,000 people, and I'm going on memory here. I want to say there are somewhere around, voting in Knoxville is pitiful. That's why it's such a low threshold to get these signatures.
Sure, I hear you.
I want to say I could be wrong about this, but I think there are 50,000 registered voters, and of those 50,000 registered voters, about 15,000 vote in elections.
Well, let me say this, okay? And a large part of what I'm about to tell you right now, Real News audience, is due to Mr. Crawford. It's due to John Adams. It's due to Rachel Adams back here as well, who we know by Ross. It's a lot due to Richard Esparza. Our potential reach, doesn't say much, but potential reach for Facebook posts last month alone was something absurd like 375,000 people. Now, that's not all who saw it, but we did have an actual reach of somewhere around 50 to 70,000 people. What I'm saying is, not all those are Knox City people. What I'm I'm saying, however, is we at least have a decent enough outlook right now, or outreach right now, through Facebook, through Instagram, through YouTube, through this terrestrial version right now. If we really wanted to, I don't know, man, maybe City Council needs to get in their mind. We realize now it takes 7,000 signatures. You guys should also realize we have a platform that could potentially reach a couple 100,000 people. I'm giving you the opportunity first before we kind of make this thing go viral. If we put it out there, here's the website, sign on to it, 350,000 potential people see this. I don't know. What's the percentage that to get 7,000?
And Michael, too, is a little bit of help. We'll talk about this more later. I do have access to recodeknox.com website. We own that. So if we want to do something with that eventually, we can do that as well.
Well, let me just, I want to talk to you about political theory here. All right. The recode product, it's the worst public relations in the history of this town. And I've done some public relations and marketing, and the cardinal rule of public relations is it has to be truthful. The statement made by the recode people that our zoning hasn't been touched in 50 years is just a damn lie. It's modified every year. We didn't create that code in 1969, and it's laid there stagnant. So they haven't been straight with people. They've used false population numbers. They say that the building codes won't change. That's not true. They're saying the commercial buildings can no longer use cinder block, you have to use concrete block. It's been bad PR. Now, if I'm a city council person, I'm not so worried about those people collecting the 7,000 signatures for recode. You know what I'm worried about? I'm worried that people are angry about how this was done, because you can recall 5 of the 9 of those city council people with only 3,200 signatures each.
Wow.
Now, if people are out there collecting signatures for recode, they might be collecting other signatures.
And what a silly thing to get recalled for, man. If all you have to do is push it off a couple more months. Like I said before, if it's been 50 years out, what's 51 years going to make a difference? What a silly thing to get recalled for. Michael, recode Mike, we got to hit this break, man. I'm pushing Roz up against the hours here. Always appreciate hearing from you. Appreciate the updates. One quick thing, is it 5:30 City Council building tomorrow? Is that correct? 5:30 p.m.?
Thursday. Be there, 5:30. Main
Gotcha.
Auditorium, City County building.
Thank you so much, sir. We always appreciate hearing from you. There goes Rico and Mike, 7:54. Are we coming back, Roz? What do you want to do? You want to pull a Rush Limbaugh on him? Hey, 30 seconds here, something real quick. Okay, sorry, bye. Yeah, we'll do that. Okay, hit this break period back.
Yeah, man, 7,000 signatures. Let's get that started. I'm pretty sure, if I know local government well enough, it has to be an acceptable format. So just a simple, I don't know, sign this Facebook petition is not going to work for them. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe someone knows better than I do. I would think that it's got to be, we'll figure it out. This is what he sent me, y'all. It's from knoxnobility.org. I'm going to paste this. I'll get my paste on. Hang on. $20.40. Hang on, Facebook. Do these links even work when I'm doing this Facebook Live for y'all? If not, here, I'll just copy and paste what he sent to me. This is the pertinent information. Here, this is what Recode Mike sent to me from knoxnobility.org. It's actually on the site. I'm looking at it right now from knoxnobility.org. This is the 16 persons he's talking about. Copy, paste, big post, go. Read it. What do we need transit for? What do we need for transit? Right. What's the density needed to support transit service? Metro in Austin, Texas has service guidelines that consider residential densities of 16 persons per acre or employment densities of 8 employee per acre to be transit supportive. Yada yada, siskumbada. To provide local context, our region as a whole just has 2 people per acre, not even one dwelling unit. What?
Are we out?
No, we're pulling a Rush Limbaugh on him.
Oh, are we going to really?
Yeah.
Okay, that's my favorite. I think we should do that more often. And then have a stinger.
I hate this. The only thing I hate more than Rush Limbaugh's 30-second thing is when Sean Hannity
does the ads. He'll be talking about something. By the way, my pillow.
I feel like I'm betrayed, honestly. I do.
Because you really think he's talking about something. Yeah. It's an ad.
Yeah.
He does
Joe
it so
Biden is a
seamlessly.
creep Uncle Joe. I remember I heard a story one time where he brought this girl into his bedroom and laid her down on these soft sheets and Bowling Branch sheets.
Yeah.
Sean, I hate you.
Some reason. Yeah. Wednesday. Yay. I was really excited about Wednesday. Why? It's a hump day, man.
Is it?
7:57 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. Here's what we have, knoxmobility.org. What do you need for transit? Question mark. What's the density needed to support transit services? Well, in Metro Austin, Texas, they have service guidelines that consider residential densities of 16 persons per acre or employment densities of 8 employees per acre to be transit supportive. Pace Suburban Bus in Chicago region serves areas of 4 to 10 dwelling units per acre or 30 employees per acre.
I don't think we have a public transportation problem in Knoxville.
You hold your tongue, sir.
Okay.
You shut your mouth when you're talking to me, Mr. Crawford.
Okay. Coming up next, Representative Colton Moore from Georgia talking about the heartbeat bill there. And this is going to be an interview you're not going to want to miss.
News, traffic, weather, all that. Be right back.
Yeah. I hate doing it to you.
I like that.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I hate it. What should I leave him with?
Yeah, I just bought recode.knox.com.
Oh, really? That's awesome. What should we should throw something up there. It's a big picture of the devil or something.
That would be funny.
Actually, to be real, I should just start compiling all this stuff. I should do that today. Compile all this stuff that Recode Michael and Stimpy and all these things.
Put it on there.
Yeah, all these things that those and all those audio clips. Just throw them up there.
And now it's great. If the city tries to use this,
right? Recode Knox is a great website for it too. Yeah. Especially if we can get those 7-second signatures and put it on
there.
vote.
I was thinking about coming up with an electronic signature thing on the website.
Do you know what's actually needed? I mean,
yeah, I can do that.
Right.
That's what I was going to talk to Michael about. Try to get some business here.
Right.
I mean, that's what I'm doing right now.
I just don't know what would be acceptable for an actual signature on them. You know, does it have to be on paper? Does it have to be live signatures, live pen? Can it be electronic?
If it does have to be an actual signature, I could at least set something up where they can enter their address and it'll mail them something. You know.
Hey, you hush your mouth. I'll be out there in a second.
Well, I need one of yours, though.
Hey, come here, get on Facebook real quick.
Why?
Come stand back here because the Facebook wants to see you.
Why?
Well,
my hair's crazy and I don't have makeup on.
It's a style.
Well, you stand back here. They can't see your makeup from all the way back here.
Hey, Facebook.
Oh, yeah, that was super enthusiastic.
What's up?
There's Ross. Say hey.
Where? Hey.
It's right there.
Why are you setting your face for?
Tell Tamara Chick that I'm getting the bumper.
It's Tamara. Get it right.
Tamara. Okay, hey Tamara. I'm getting it together.
I actually have no idea if it's Tamara.
I have a friend that's Tamara and she spells it that way and she hates when people call her Tamara.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man. Tamara or Tamara, which one is it? Michael Litt? I need a cool name like Michael Litt. Or is it Lee?
Lee.
Lit.
All right, let's leave y'all with Peterson Shapiro. Combination I'm sure you'll love.
I thought, how am I going to start this thing?
This is
I'd ask you guys
one of
how
our
you're doing.
listeners brought us 4
into
shirts, so
some
that one is for
deep
you.
topics.
Cool. You was
And
only
I thought, no, let's do something else. A lot of people don't seem to like us. That is a weird thing. We've been bouncing
That should
around
be our
quite
intro.
literally
I should make it if you don't seem to like it.
people at this point who are decent, good people from every walk of life, trying to find some answers and meet other people that think like them or don't think like them, but just want to find some decency in this world. And yet the online world just seems relentlessly hateful, and you probably get more hate than anyone else. So I thought that would just be an interesting way to start this. Like, just as three people that I think are basically trying to put some decency out there, just sort of the level of anger and hate that we get. I'll go to you first.
Okay, well,
does it bother you anymore?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I try to shield myself from it to some degree. I mean, I've certainly decreased the amount of time that I'm spending reading Twitter comments to pretty much zero.
Yeah.
I find the contentious interchanges with journalists, I would say, are the most stressful things that I do. And they usually rattle me up for a day or two afterwards, even though I would say they're still worth doing. But here's the thing. Okay, so a couple of observations. The first is a lot of the pejorative comments that have been aimed at me, for example, have been that my followers are a bunch of angry young white men. So I'd like to take that apart a little bit. I mean, the first thing I've learned in the last month or so, thought through, is that I'm done making any sort of apologies whatsoever for the fact that most of the people who are watching my YouTube videos are men. There's nothing wrong with talking to men, and if men happen to be benefiting from what I'm discussing, then so much the better. Women have to live with men, and so that's of great benefit to women, and there are plenty of women writing me, telling me that, and also meeting me at these talks saying exactly the same thing. And then they're not angry. So, and how do I know that? Well, as you just pointed out, we have spoken to 250,000 people in 7 months. How many incidents of anger have we had?
I mean, when I tell you literally none.
Zero.
Zero.
Right, zero.
The shows have been love fests.
Yeah, they're very, very positive.
Yeah.
So, and we had one heckler who was obviously not a fan in one venue.
I wasn't even at that show.
So it wasn't your fault.
That was on you, man.
Exactly. So the lectures couldn't possibly be more peaceful or positive as far as I'm concerned. And so, and then the people there aren't particularly young. I would say the average age is somewhere between 30 and 40, and there's plenty of older people. And especially in the US now, it's at least a third women for what that's worth, and I think that's because women are buying more of the books. In Europe, it was still more men, but that's because in many of those countries, the book had only come out recently.
Yeah.
And
it's definitely not the way the media portrays it. They're making it seem like it's 90-10. I mean, I always say at the beginning of the show when I reference something about that, I usually say it's 60-40. And maybe sometimes it's a little more one way or the other, but it's certainly not the way.
Well, I think a lot of the vitriol is, see, I just finished reading another book on postmodernism, an Oxford book on postmodernism, and on Derrida in particular. And like, there really was an attempt on the part of the postmodernists, and this is allied, I think, with their fundamental Marxism, to demolish the idea of the autonomous individual. So, for example, one of the things that's really interesting about the current free speech debate is that it really isn't a debate, because you have to be in the Judeo-Christian / Enlightenment tradition to believe in free speech. Because to believe in free speech, you have to believe that there are autonomous individuals who have their own viewpoints, who can spontaneously generate creative ideas, and then who can engage in an active dialogue in a manner that consists of fundamental goodwill and truth, and that you can change each other's opinions, and that you can come to a negotiated agreement. You have to believe all of that, including the autonomous individual, in that concept, the logos, which is what Derrida was what he criticized so heavily, that idea of logocentrism. You have to believe in the autonomous individual. And the postmodernists and the neo-Marxists, they don't. They believe that the individual is a mouthpiece for a power assembly, and that there's no such thing as free speech, which is why they no platform, right? It's not, well, it is, so the debate about free speech is way deeper than who should be allowed to talk. The debate about free speech is whether or not there is such a thing as free speech outside the power game that neo-colonial Europeans are playing. And so what I'm doing, and what you're doing with me, and I think what everybody in the IDW is doing to some degree, is speaking to people as if they are autonomous individuals who are the bedrock of civilization and sovereignty, and that is absolute anathema to the radical left. And so they see that as a fundamental challenge, which it is.
So the individual is the fundamental challenge. I think that's perfect for you, because it's like, you as an individual, Ben Shapiro, you get more hate online than pretty much anyone. And it's not just that you get hate, it's the nature of the hate, where that you're a white supremacist, you happen to be wearing a yarmulke, which is a little confusing, that you're a Nazi or the rest of it. And it's like, I know you're okay with criticism, but it's not criticism at their level. It's just endless hate. It's endless over the top hate. Well, that's the weird thing.
If you're a good person, you're trying to be a good person, every time you receive a piece of criticism, as a good person, your first response should be, did I do something wrong? Was it me, right? And as somebody who's trying to get...
Steve Urkel, he nailed that perfectly. What? Did I do that?
What was that, me?
You ever seen that Key and Peele skit about Steve Urkel?
I don't watch them anymore. After he did the whole... No, I haven't. But after he did the whole, I will never...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly,
not relevant. Like,
the way I see that whole Key and Peele thing is, like, fine. If you want to be a black director or black writer, only hiring black people in lead roles, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but when a white dude comes out and says the same thing, then you kind of got to, like, y'all said that precedent, you know what I mean?
I don't think Keenan and Peele were that funny anyway, so.
You hear Dave Chappelle talk about that? I mean, not that he said that they weren't funny, but he said, like, for a long time after he left the Chappelle show, he really struggled because he had to watch 3 or 4 of the shows do his show.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's kind of true, man. It's the exact same format, getting out there doing the stand-up bit and then introducing clips and...
It is currently 8:08 in the morning with an AM in front of those numbers. That's how you know it's morning. Also, don't forget about our AM 760.
Thank you, Professor.
Yeah, that's what I got my PhD in. And telling time.
In timology? Timoglyphics?
Yeah. Timoglyphics here.
Timoglyphics coming to a studio near you, starring Grant Henry.
I'm a well-learned professor.
Oh, are you? I'm impressed. You know what the AM and PM. Now, do you know what AM stands for, Professor?
After morning.
After morning. So that's why it's in the morning?
Yes, that's right.
I think it's after midnight. I made that up. I don't know. We're such a stupid show. You know that? Huh?
Pre-midnight?
No, past morning.
It stands for post-morning.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Definitely.
Take it to the bank.
I don't think anything.
All the first graders going to school right now, you put that on your test.
Yeah,
you tell them Real News told you that was the answer.
We have a legitimate guest on the line. He's never going to come back on the show.
No, he's good. He's good.
He's good. Hey, let's go to this guest right now. Let's save all
He's
the
a friend of the family.
Well, actually, let's do at least some of the housekeeping stuff. 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255, because you're probably going to have some questions for this
Crown
guest
Plaza
here.
calling line, 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255.
Hey, let's go right now to our guest. He's Georgia State House Representative for District 1, Colton Moore. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, sir.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen and ladies.
Yeah. There you go, Ross.
Yeah, don't forget about the lady back there.
She's the real one that makes the show happen. Hey, can I call you Colton?
That's fine, yeah. Sure.
Fantastic. Representative Moore is one thing.
Mr. Representative.
The Honorable Mr. Representative.
The Honorable Mr. Representative Moore. Let me just start with a very general opening question. You're 25 years old, is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
All right, so being that young, I say being that young, I'm 33 right now. Man, how in the world did you get started at such a young age? Let me ask like a sort of compounded question here of how did you get started so young? Where was the motivation to do this at 25 years old? You're making a 33-year-old guy like myself think, what have I done with my life? You know what I'm saying? But 25 years old.
Let me start with that with a guy named Weston Wapp. You know, one of you Tennesseans, he famously said the quote. He said, age does not make a man. Character and competence do that. Our men and women in uniform prove that every day.
That's fantastic, man. Did you look at this particular district, District 1, and think to yourself, oh, man, incumbency is just a thing that needs to... It wasn't antagonistic, obviously, but does a guy need to be out? Did you just have a passion and motivation wanting to run to help this district out? What was it?
Yeah, I mean, there were 50 years difference between me and the incumbent. I campaigned on the fact that I was going to be a louder voice for the district. I was going to bring a new energy and a new pace to politics there, and that was a kind of an easy sell considering there was 50 years difference between me and my opponent. It ended up being the most cost-effective state legislative campaign in the entire country at $4,600.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that in just a second, but I got to tell you, in Tennessee, people, I say this all the time in this program, it's worth repeating. People in East Tennessee in particular like to claim that they hate incumbency. I mean, frankly speaking, you can run an entire campaign on nothing more than I'm not a career politician. With that being said, however, we put Jimmy Duncan up there for 30 years. We put his dad up there for 28 years.
Who was the congressman for Knoxville.
Well, no, I think it's too common that you see a big, powerful incumbent in there, and the people who are legitimate, good candidates, they don't want to take a risk to their own reputation of challenging this person. So then they go unchallenged. So it really takes someone just to get a little grit in them, and to have not necessarily a vengeance, but just to say, you know what, I've had enough, and I'm going to challenge this person. And you've got to think about it too. The incumbent, you've always got a 30% or so probably protest vote, even if Mickey Mouse runs.
That's right.
And Colton, talking about the election, what would you say? One thing we want to focus on this interview today is kind of breaking the mold on what people see politics as, what people think that their state legislature, or that we're in the South, so things are a lot different from D.C., which is just not true, that so many things happen the same way, and the cronyism and the backdoor deals and the intimidation is all there, if not even more, and much more personal level. Talking about the campaign, at least, did you see any of that while running?
No, honestly, no one thought I could win. So that was another aspect of it too. There was a lot of underestimation, that makes your job a lot easier as a young candidate, because they think, there's no way this guy's going to win anyway.
Yeah, and Colton, full disclosure here, I've talked about it a little bit in the last hour, that you and I are friends, and that's one reason why I wanted you on the show, because of your story, and I know what you believe in and how you vote and what kind of person you are, and respect you for that. That, we had conversations the day of the election of how these things were going, that you ended up winning by a pretty decent margin compared to, especially people thought that there was no chance you would win, and the incumbent was there for 2-3 terms and was handpicked by the establishment GOP in Georgia. And how is that going now? While you just finished yesterday your first term and the first legislative session in Georgia, what have you learned after serving for that first session about power in Georgia?
Well, there's a little over, I think, 250, people of power in Georgia politics, but there's only about 10 or 15 people driving the boat. So, those 10 or 15 people kind of control everything, and I would say, that's what is commonly referred to as the swamp. So you see that in D.C., I'm sure you see that in Tennessee politics, Georgia politics, wherever you go.
And by the way, Real News Audience, we're joined right now by Colton Moore, Georgia State House Representative, District 1. Before we get too much into this heartbeat bill, before we get too much into what it's actually like behind the closed doors to be a representative, I want to ask as well, you said the most cost-effective campaign, one of the most cost-effective, I suppose, in Georgia State House history there. What in the world did you do different? It's a lot of pounding the pavement, knocking on doors? Was it a social media campaign? Was it some sense of conglomeration of all that? What did you do?
Well, yeah, a conglomeration of all that. I think the older generation in politics, while they certainly have more wisdom, I think we have more knowledge. I come from the first generation that has had instant access to information, say via Wikipedia. Anytime we want to know something as a generation, we just have a quick Google and we can figure it out. There was one instance where we had an educational debate, and my opponent spent about $10,000 on a mailer, recapping the debate. And it took me about 2 days, but I got the email address to every single school teacher in my entire district. And I gave my recap to each school teacher in the entire district. That email was so effective and was talked about so much that my opponent ended up sending out another mailer just to counter my email. So it didn't cost me anything, and I'd already drained my opponent of something over $10,000.
And Colton, did you have any kind of one? We talked about your background a little bit in trucking, that you were an auctioneer, and I think we actually might have found you some business already in Knoxville. People thinking that's interesting and wanting some auctioneering work done for them.
Auctioneers and politicians, we just talk fast and take people's money.
Hopefully, you get more people's money in the private profession, a little more honest than the other way around. But with those backgrounds, did you have any family reasoning for running, or what's your background? You're from Dade County, District 1 in Georgia. Do you want to talk a little bit about your base on that?
Yeah. So I won my home county by about 67% of the vote, and I say I've had 20 years to campaign there, but I only had about 10 weeks to campaign in the other county, and I actually lost every single precinct in the other county, but just by a few votes. And there was obviously a big enough win in my home county to make up for that. But it's southern small town politics. Where I come from in North Georgia is very much just like East Tennessee. We're southern Appalachian, hillbillies, so to speak. So that's certainly close to my heart.
And Colton, we have a number of listeners here, either on our app or listening through iHeart or TuneIn Radio or any of these things. I think we have 20, 30,000 listeners per month just on the app, a couple international as well. If there are some people listening in Georgia right now, is ColtonMoore.com the best website to find some more information about you and stuff?
Oh yeah, certainly. Cool. It's packed down with every news article for about the last year.
Gotcha.
I do want to ask one question here. I did not get this pre-approved by you whatsoever, so you tell on it as much as you want to. But I hinted at a very interesting story when I was telling that you were from District 1, and there was a certain event that you went to that you were not allowed in, but you found a way in. We're going to have to hit a break here, but I want you to think about that and see how much of that story you would be willing to tell, because I think much of the audience would find it quite entertaining.
Oh, there's a lot of things I'm not allowed into, so I'm trying to figure out which one you're referring to.
Hey, Colton, we got to hit this break. I'll put you on hold real quick. Hold through the break for us. We're going to pick this up after the break. Put Colton on hold there. And 8:18 in the morning, come back from this break, joined more by Georgia State House Representative District 1, Colton Moore. Be right back.
He's good. I can see why he's elected.
Yeah.
Hey, did Tamara ever answer if it was Tamara or Tamara? Hey, if it works, I doubt it will, Facebook, but if you want the link for that Knox Mobility, here's the link. You probably just type in knoxmobility.org and it would hit. Or just copy and paste what you're seeing right there. Throw it into your, throw it into the little address bar and then, hit that enter button and then, stuff will happen for you, Hey, Facebook, we went up to the Smoky Stadium yesterday and recorded some stuff. There's a video promo for Real News now. It's going to run at the end of every Smokies game. So if you go to a Smokies game, be on the lookout, bro. Bolo for the Real News video.
Be on the lookout, but not the Chattanooga lookouts. That's a different team.
That's right. There's a Real News promo that's running at the end of the Smokies game now. On the Jumbotron, yeah. It's going to be pretty sweat.
Pretty sweat. He says he'll tell the story.
Oh, is he Facebook Messenger or something?
No, I just talked to him on hold.
Oh. Tell him to get it right or pay the price. I'll vote him out of office right now. I ain't scared.
No, he's good on answers. I went down to his district.
This weekend,
he rented out an hour of TV time on local TV there.
Yeah.
And I went and did an interview for him.
Oh, that's
so kind of
awesome.
ran the show for him.
Does he have any ideas to what he wants to do going forward? He sounds like the kind of guy this young with this being this charge that this is obviously not the last step for him, right?
Can you mute Mevo?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Report is brought to you by the United States Air Force. Make a living with a career that makes a difference. The United States Air Force has more than 200 career options. Airforce.com.
Traffic from the FMT Insurance Studios of Talk Radio 92.3 and AM 760.
Pellissippi Parkway wreck northbound at the interstate is the biggest headache right now. Traffic's backed up all the way back to North Shore Drive. Southbound slow going as well. We've got a report of a large truck leaking some sort of a fluid on southbound Alcoa Highway through the...
Do it, to it. To it, do it. If you do it.
I can't stand Theresa May. Like, why do they put her up there? She's not conservative enough.
Oh, I don't know, dude. She's
kind of dumb.
Bro, this whole Brexit thing. I got a guy from London that co-hosts with Rich one day. He's supposed to be coming on sometime next week for like a full 2-hour segment on it, man. It's just a friggin' debacle.
Yeah, it is.
There. Let me come back in, reintroduce some website, whatever else. And then, yeah. Hey, it's 22 in the morning.
I had to let that play, man. I love that song so much.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
I'm sorry, Facebook.
You know I'm a Tennessean at heart, but Tennessee doesn't have a Georgia on my mind. They don't have that song.
They really don't.
I mean, there's no better.
Yeah. I'm sorry Facebook couldn't catch that, but, I don't want to get struck down.
Yeah.
Copyright. Hey, let's go back.
I want that played at my funeral.
Okay. Let's go. Such a morbid note to begin with. Let's go back to Colton Moore on the line with us right now.
I thought it was kind of happy.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, not me dying. Well, some people would probably be happy about that, but just the thought of it.
That's good.
Anyway.
Colton Moore's on the line with us right now as Georgia State House Representative from District 1. ColtonMoore.com. ColtonMoore.com if you so happen to be listening in Georgia or you just want to support this guy's ideas. Seems like he's got a meteoric rise.
Or his campaign. He takes checks.
Right? Yeah. Meteoric rise. This guy is a shining star of the Republican Party. I would say potentially nationally as well, being as young as he is, man. It's good things to come. Good looking guy, too. You know what I'm saying?
My goodness.
I'm looking at
flattery all around.
He's got a full head of hair.
You got a crush on him or something?
Cheekbones. I mean,
I'm a little uncomfortable in the studio right now.
I mean, I'd hang out if you want to hang out.
Mr. Henry is married to a woman, by the way.
Let's make that clear. Anyways, move past this awkward moment in radio history. Nick, go ahead and follow up with that question.
First time I think you've ever flirted rep. Man, Colton, we you on a long time ago.
That you know of. That you know of. I got to get these people on the show somehow, man. Come on.
Anyway, all right, we're going to transition out of there. There's a story that I wanted you to tell that I think would really show the audience, one, a lot about you, but as well as a lot about politics and just some interesting inside stories, if you wouldn't mind telling it. It happened at the Classic Center with a fundraiser for Brian Kemp, the newly elected governor.
This was actually the inaugural party.
Oh, was it?
So it was the election night watch party, and I had known a couple days before that I was going to go to this event, but I ran my campaign on a pretty lean budget, and I was thinking, what's a good way that I can bring some awareness to Brian Kemp and try to get some votes out for him. And I have a dump truck, and Brian Kemp said many times in his campaign, and I'll try to say it like Brian Kemp. He said, "Hey," he said, I got a big truck. He said, so that way I can haul off criminal illegals myself.
That's pretty good, Kemp. I like that.
Yeah. And so I got a big dump truck, and I put this big trucks for Kemp, and put some big Georgia flags, the big American flags up on top of it. Maybe there's a picture of that somewhere on the website you can see, but I only spent probably about $750 on this dump truck, and I did a little tour across the district and all the way down to Atlanta and all the way over to the watch party in Athens, and that ended up making it into I think 4 different newspapers on election day for Kemp. So I only spent $750, and I got some great publicity with the Kemp truck for Kemp leading up into the election. So me and some of my campaign staffers, we get there to the watch party, and I've been out on the campaign trail all day. I'm I'm in my boots and my blue jeans and my flannel shirt and my Make America Great Again hat. And I roll in and, it's
in your dump truck.
In my dump truck. Just park that thing right up in the front door. And the last thing that was on my mind was the fact that, okay, everyone here is probably in a nice sport coat or a suit or, some kind of fancy dress. But, nonetheless, we walk in and obviously I want to go to the VIP section, right? Because now I've got some status as this elected official. So I walk down to the VIP booth, and the lady suddenly turns me away very quickly, and she says, "Listen, I don't see your name anywhere on this list." And I said, "Well, there must be a mistake, obviously." She said, "Look," she goes, "the only way you're getting in here," she said, "is if somebody, one of those elected officials back there, comes back here and gets you." And I said, "Well, look," I said, "I'll make a deal with you." I said, "I got 2 staffers right here." I said, "If I'm not legit," I said, "I don't get in." I said, "But if I am legit," I said, "not only do I get in, but my 2 staffers get in."
Nice.
And before she could really think about that deal, because either way, I mean, we could have, all 3 of us not got in. But I had a rep come back, and he's like, "Yeah, this guy's in the legislature," and we all 3 stuck our hands out, we got our wristbands, and we march in. The lieutenant governor says, "Oh my goodness, we got bad company in here." So it was that was one of my first introductions to Georgia politics. Had one representative come up to me and he said, "What you're wearing right now, before you go to any more legislative events, I would suggest you at least bring a sport coat."
Hey, being that we're pulling the veil back a little bit, Real News Audience joined by Georgia State House Representative District 1, Colton Moore. ColtonMoore.com is the website. We're pulling the veil back a little bit here. Colton, I want to ask you, in Tennessee, it's not a secret to anybody that you don't run unless and until you're asked to run. You bide your time, right? You play the game. I'm not saying this is correct. I'm just explaining what it is in East Tennessee, and I'm asking if it's similar in Georgia, right? You literally, if you're inclined to run, if you think you have a motivation, let's say you even have some type of Christian calling upon your life where you're meant to be a representative in this representative republic, you do not do it until and unless you're told to do it. You know what I'm saying? You play the game long enough, you get in with the good old boys club. Did you experience any kind of pushback from that? Let me give you an anecdote of this as well. I clerk for a judge here. And he was telling me, when I decided to run for this particular position, I walked into the judge's chamber. I had been an attorney for 20 plus years, a very great reputation in this area. Walked into the judge's chambers that I was running against, extended my hand and tried to shake his hand and say, "Hey, I just want to let you know, my name's such and such, I'm running against you." The judge did not even extend his hand back, said what to the calling. You are making a mockery of our entire system. And I'm telling you, man, that is, unfortunately, a sense of East Tennessee politics. Did you get any kind of that? You're running against an incumbent, man, as a 25-year-old kid. Let's be real here. Somebody had to give you pushback.
No, absolutely. What you're saying is true across the entire country. No matter what election you go to, you're going to find the same thing. I commonly hear around the Capitol, they're like, "Yeah, if that person, as long as they can keep doing what they're doing and they don't get caught with their pants down, they're going to keep getting reelected. There's no sense in challenging them." But there's always good reason to challenge. I mean, I think that's one of the checks and balances of our government. So the way I looked at it is, when I was running, I was like, you know what, whether I win or whether I lose, at least this incumbent isn't going to be, think that they're just all high and mighty. No one challenged them.
Hey, we got a break coming up here in just a minute. I want to see if Colton, by the way, I want to be respectful of your time, but do we have you for the whole hour here? Is that all right? I'm looking at Nick here.
I'm enjoying you guys, and I'm eating my Wheaties, so I'm down for them.
I mean, after the flirt session we had earlier on in this segment, of course he's going to stay here.
He's obligated now at this point, you know what I mean?
What happens off the air stays off the air.
He doesn't know if I'm a Georgia resident or not. He could be, he could be solution a voter right now.
Yeah, you're definitely not.
Colton doesn't know that. I could be broadcasting live from his district right now. Nick's giving me this look in the studio.
No, you don't have to laugh at his jokes. You don't have to.
Yes, you do, Colton. Yes, you do.
That was pretty funny.
Anyways, man, we're going to come back from this break, ask Colton about the Georgia heartbeat bill.
Get some actual policy and hard questions
policy
here.
Getting in, and then also, I really want to get his opinion. Hey, man, you've been through your first term. What's it like? Any regrets? Anything you want to do different going forward? All that stuff, 8:30 in the morning, put Colton back on break, news, traffic, weather, all that stuff. Is that even right? Traffic's not at this point. It's just news. This is my show. I do this for a living. Is it traffic?
Well, I thought you came up with the traffic.
That's
Aren't
right.
you like in the sky
It's
right
my
now
voice,
above Georgia?
I go hop in the WETR helicopter.
Oh.
Yeah.
I never got a ride
I
in
control
that.
a drone from the studio right now. I'm just looking at all the traffic. Just on these 3 streets around the studio. That's the only range I have for my drone.
Why do they keep you?
I don't know. 8:31. Be right back.
I like this guy a lot.
Yeah, no, he's a good friend.
He's the kind of guy I'd like to get in with on ground floor stuff, man. I think you and him and y'all's whole little ilk could be going somewhere good.
Yeah.
Dude, this makes me so sick. Watch this stuff right here. No, not that. Good morning. Tanya Stout Brown. Such a good voice for this. This is your generation, bro.
Oh, hang on. I feel like we're both pretty bad texters.
Is that your way of saying you're a bad texter?
Yeah, you're a bad texter.
Yep.
A little bit, yeah.
That's important for in person. Alexis dies.
What is that dash she has?
It's a Lamborghini.
How is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
This girl makes millions upon millions of dollars per year just from her Instagram and YouTube.
It's just ridiculous. That's just that. I'm saying that because I'm jealous, but
yeah, I know it's
maybe I just should have grown up and been a moron and put it on Instagram and made some money.
You want to come back in straight with the heartbeat bill stuff?
Yeah.
Let's go with the heartbeat bill, and let's go with, hey, we've had a few representatives here that have said part of the reasoning for not voting for it is such and such. What do you make of that type thing? And we can sort of give him the opportunity to
talk about the bill, explain what it was, explain like what kind of tension's going on, talk about what the Hollywood people. Oh, when I asked him, he wrote a letter. The Hollywood people emailed him, and he wrote them back a letter, and I told him he needs to put it on the billboard and it'd be his campaign sign.
The Hollywood people, like lobbyists or something?
No, and like the celebrity stuff.
Yeah.
He emailed Colton, was like threatening him about voting yes.
Oh, because it's his bill, right?
Well, it's not his, but he voted for it.
Gotcha, okay.
And he emailed him back, and I think he needs to use that.
That'd be great.
You see, Tucker Carlson beat CNN's entire primetime lineup ratings combined.
Yeah, I know, dude. I mean, I think about it sometimes, man, and I guess, like, if you really want to break it down, it's Democrats have MSNBC, NBC, ABC, and CNN to choose from. So it's 4 or 5 main people that they get to choose from. So they're spread out amongst that, where Republicans only have Fox News. So
but still combined.
Yeah, but still combined. It's absurd.
I think they picked the perfect picture to put with that article.
That's exactly what he would do, too. Man, Tucker Carlson, bro. I love Tucker.
I do, too.
I think he's great at what he does, but at the same time,
he's
man,
he's just a frat boy.
He is,
all
dude. He is, man. He's just that frat boy that had like a bit more intelligence than your average frat guy.
Ran the frat.
Yeah. He's like the frat president.
Yeah.
It's not anything to write home about. It's not anything to brag about.
No.
But he has an appeal that everyone loves, and he's
charming.
Yeah. I don't know. He fell backwards into that job, though, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, it was his parents. He grew up in the DC area, Georgetown area, something like he knows all
he
the
was very
players.
fluent.
Yeah. He's also a pretty down to earth guy, man. I watched this.
I've watched several documentaries and things. I really liked Tucker Carlson and studied how he did what he did, and I think he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff he buys. He buys Nicorette in bulk from like Australia
Nuh-uh.
because it's cheaper there.
Really?
He will get pallets of Nicorette shipped to his house, and evidently he is just chewing it nonstop.
I didn't know that
because he used to be a big smoker, and so now he does Nicorette, and he also used to be a heavy drinker. Like he would show up on the show drunk.
That's kind of funny.
And he quit that, and so now between breaks he has AC/DC blaring on break, and just like they say, chowing through Nicorette.
He's 40. He's almost 50. He's 49. He looks great for being 50, bro. Honestly.
And honestly, he's pretty fat.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Him and Sean. Like, look at this picture of Sean from when he was actually... Sean's put on a good 30 pounds.
Oh, no, Sean's put on weight.
Yeah, dude. They need to loosen up, like, I can't speak too much, but they need to loosen up the... Sean, you can tell, there's like, he needs to size up and start some...
Yeah. And Brett Baer, too.
Yeah.
Brett Baer's a big guy, but they just wear it well.
Yeah.
I'm sure the makeup and the lighting.
HD cameras haven't helped really anybody, though.
No.
Except for all those female hosts at Fox, man. I don't know where they find these people.
No. They look good.
And not only that, dude, they're some of the most gorgeous women in the nation,
Yeah.
plus they're way more qualified than the dudes are.
Yes.
They have like a master's and a JD, right? A PhD and a JD. It's absurd.
Excuse me?
What are you giving
We
away?
have the massage and
Date with
ham and
Colton?
goodies cookies.
Yeah, can we give away a date with Colton? Is he married?
No, he's single.
All right, we're giving away a date with Colton.
Let's do it.
A massage and what? Cookies?
Cookies.
So, a girl?
Or guy.
The flight, Loudoun County Rec 75 North, off ramp at...
But he'd think that's funny. We should do that.
All right. We won't even tell them about it.
No, we're just going to do it.
I'm just going to come back on and say this is the giveaway. You want to say caller 3?
Huh?
Caller 3?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then when you wake up in the middle of the night and you happen to be facing that direction, it makes me fall out of bed every single time.
We used it to play pin the tail on the Raws.
Oh, yeah.
That's our party games.
Yeah.
We bob for apples and then we pin the tail on the Raws.
Took us years, but you did it in 3 weeks.
Who the hell is this guy?
That is one excellent question. No positive ID. We've recorded him in over 3 dozen scenes, all of which relate to the pattern.
Why? What is he doing?
What it looks like he's doing is watching, observing.
Hey, 8:38 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News. Hey, let's do a giveaway real quick. 865-888-TALK. That's 865-888-8255. Here's the giveaway. Roz, what do they get?
What do they get?
They get Johnny $35 worth of massage bucks from Stephanie Kurtz and a dozen lemon cookies from Ham and Goodies.
And there's a 3-part giveaway.
Yes. The third part is
The best part.
a date with Colton.
That's right.
Mhm.
Woo!
They get the massage, they get the goodies giveaway, and
Nowadays, it's 2019. You could be a girl, you could be a guy.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's
Or
whatever,
non-identify. You could be a tranny. You know?
Yeah. You don't have
Can
to
I say
identify.
that on the air?
Right.
I just said it. I don't
It's
care.
gender
You can,
neutral.
but
It's fine.
we're past the 10-point delay now at this point. It's out there.
Just find me,
it's out
FCC.
there, right? Find them. So there's the giveaway.
Don't really. I don't have the money to pay that. Don't find
Third caller on the Crown Plaza call number 865-888-TALK. That's 865-888-8255.
Caller number 3?
You
Caller
get
number
the,
3.
Massage, you get the
It
goodies.
should be caller number 1 for District 1 for Colton.
Oh, that's true. You want to make a caller
But
number
that's
1?
not as fun.
All right, yeah.
Caller
Let me
number-
get caller number one.
1.
Nah, let's do caller number 3.
All right.
All right. 865-888-TALK.
I'm sorry to announce, Colton, there's no callers right
Oh, dang.
He said, "Oh, dang." All right, so it's a date with.
It's probably the travel.
Yes,
That's what it is.
that's
We didn't
what it
include
is.
travel.
Yes. It's the date with Georgia State House Rep from District 1, Colton Moore. The date with Colton Moore, the massage and the goodies.
And free cookies.
And free cookies. There you go. Let's go back to
We
our-
take the cookies first, though.
Have you gotten a caller yet?
No, unfortunately not.
Oh, man. Goodness gracious. And
Gran will take you out, though, evidently.
Exactly.
I'm moving past this real quick. Let's get into some legitimate policy issues. ColtonMoore.com is the website. Georgia.
Hey, it's lit up. There's it. I'm sorry. No, they hung up.
God, this is not bearing well for you, Colton. Georgia State House Rep District 1, Georgia State House Representative District 1, Colton Moore. Hey, let's get into some serious topics here.
We bring him on the show, representative from Georgia, and you insult him.
I don't insult him. Hey, Colton, break down for us. We have a Tennessee heartbeat bill that's going through right now. I believe it passed the House. Did it pass through Senate? Do we know that yet?
What, the heartbeat bill?
Right.
Yeah, it's sitting on the governor's desk. I
Okay,
believe.
Haslam has already made a promise. Haslam, goodness gracious, sorry, y'all. Bill Lee has made Governor Lee has made a promise. He will sign that. Now, I wanted to get into some conversation here in just a second about what's going to happen after this stuff passes in Tennessee. Explain to us what the Georgia version is and any controversy that might have surrounded that.
Well, so the Georgia version is thought to be the strictest. And it is structurally, the bill is set up in a little different way, to where if other bills, Mississippi's or Tennessee's, if they happen to get challenged in the Supreme Court, that hopefully ours will be strong enough to make it out. It also puts a big target on it because all the ACLU attorneys showed up at the Capitol, and the first lawsuit that they're going to bring against any heartbeat bill is probably going to be Georgia's bill, because they know if they can kill Georgia's, they can probably kill any other state. So,
right. And there's been some
Go
ahead.
Yeah.
And there's been some backlash in Georgia from out of state about this bill. I understand that Hollywood has been up in arms about it and protesting, saying they won't make movies.
Georgia's bill's really it's really been strict out, so to speak, because Georgia for the last probably decade or so has been trying to attract the film industry, and Hollywood has a satellite location essentially, and that's Atlanta. And anytime you're watching any movies today, you'll see a lot of Georgia. I was watching a movie the other day, and it was the San Francisco courthouse, but it was actually the Georgia Capitol. And there's a big tax credit there, so there are a lot of actors and actresses that commonly frequent Georgia, and they were very vocal in our last governor election. We had Will Ferrell out going door to door, campaigning for Stacey Abrams. And on the heartbeat bill, we've got Alyssa Milano. She's stopping around the Capitol, and she's got her little crew with her, and all the cameras are chasing her, and she's telling all of us Georgians that we're doing it wrong. That's not how Hollywood would have it, and if we pass this bill, that Hollywood will leave, that all the actors and actresses will boycott the state of Georgia, and our film industry is over.
Man, I got to tell you, man, Alyssa Milano is the quintessential definition for me of the left's consistency of their inconsistency. You get what I'm saying? That lady, I'm telling you, man. And part of me wants to say how infuriating she is for me. I wish she would just stop. But the other half of me wants to say, keep going. Keep doing what you're doing. Just put on full display for everyone in this country that hypocrisy. Wear it on your sleeve. I got no problem with that.
By the way, a little programming note here. We do have caller number 3 on the line. Roz is screening the person right now to win the giveaway.
That guy just called 3 different times.
That's awesome. Hey, Colton, let me ask you. I believe this bill is House Bill 481. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Now in Tennessee, I think and don't quote me on this, Real News audience or anybody listening in Georgia or whatever, but I'm pretty sure Tennessee's bill put that strict at 8 weeks. Is there an actual parameter of weeks that is in this bill as well, or is it just sort of this innocuous heartbeat?
Well, it's right. It's the heartbeat, which could go 6 to 8 weeks.
Gotcha.
Yeah, as early as 6.
Now, every single time I've seen this brought up, I have a history in law, went to law school myself, have the whole JD and everything else, and every single time I've seen this brought up, case precedent would tell me that inevitably this is going to fail at some federal level, if not a state level as well. It's happened in, at least as what I can remember off the top of my head, the 8 other states. I believe Nebraska recently tried to push a 15-week bill, and that failed as well. Now, I think when you really get down to it, an undue burden under the precedent of Casey said that's really what it's going to be coming down to. Did you have any either misconceptions, or did you have any do you want to hold up what? Oh no,
I'm sorry. I know what the caller's going to say. Go ahead and continue with this.
Oh my goodness, crazy. Colton, I'll give you this to you in a minute. Let me get this serious topic out of the way first, then we got Pam on the line for you. Did you have any reservations about trying to push this, knowing, and as I'm sure you did your research on this, that this is probably going to fail at some level in the legal system?
Well, I certainly hope not. I mean, the bill certainly does challenge Roe, but at the same token, our bill is a little different in the fact that instead of considering it just a fetus, we give it personhood status.
Oh, wow.
So that makes our bill a little different, and I think that's what's going to be the challenge to Roe.
And have you gotten any pushback personally against you, against your office, anything like that? What happened in the state capitol when all of this bill, when it was being passed and voted on?
So yeah, I mean, this was probably one of the most interesting experiences being elected thus far. There's only like maybe 3 days left before crossover day at this point. I'm going to start at the beginning of the story here, and there was the bill. There was no mention of the bill. Our Speaker of the House, which is a whole other story, basically told us all of us Republicans, and we have a majority, obviously, that he wasn't going to take on any controversial bills this year because he didn't want to risk us losing, these seats around the outer perimeter of Atlanta. So we had no intention of ever taking this bill on. And there was this gentleman, he's probably about in his late 60s, and he's a freshman representative, a funeral home director from down in South Georgia. And we're in a caucus meeting, and no one had heard, his name is Danny, no one had heard Danny say a word all session. And all of a sudden, Danny stands up, and the majority leader of the caucus was on a rant, and he said, "Excuse me, Mr. Majority Leader," he said, "before we conclude," he said, "I want to take on some serious business here." And he gives this passionate speech for about 10 minutes about how really the only reason why he was here was just to see that this abortion issue was kind of put to bed. He's like, "We've all campaigned on this thing for 20 years. He goes, "I actually want to see a piece of legislation." And he said, "That's what I'm here to do." And two other representatives suddenly stand up, and the Speaker of the House, you could tell, was very frustrated because essentially the further right-wing part of the majority caucus, was about to have mutiny unless this thing was going to get a hearing. And 481 was assigned to a committee that the chairwoman has a district just on the outskirts of Atlanta, and she was absolutely opposed to the bill, so she wasn't going to give it a hearing. And she obviously took a lot of pressure, and the speaker basically called her up to the speaker's podium a little later that day and said, "You're going to give this bill a hearing." So the next day, the last day that we can possibly have a hearing before crossover day, where all the bills must cross over to the Senate, we get there and we're 4 Republican votes short of this passing. And so there's many of us there watching this committee hearing, and we frantically start texting these 4 members. We're trying to recruit them there. Many of them are a very tight district. They're afraid however they vote or however they speak on this bill, it's probably going to be the detriment of their election. So the governor gets wind of this, and basically a few phone calls from the governor to these members recruits them into the committee hearing. And we just barely passed the amended version of 481. And the next day is the last day that this can come forward. And it's about 11 o'clock at night. At midnight, we adjourn. And we know in the Rules Committee that there's a 1-hour debate that this bill has been granted. So it's 11 o'clock. We know that if the bill doesn't show up now, it's just going to have to wait for another year. And suddenly the bill gets called. The galley is filled with protesters, and it had been all day long. And they were some sketchy protesters. They were wearing these red, nun-like robes and these white masks.
The Handmaid's Tale thing, yeah.
Yeah, and they were pretty sketchy. But what really got sketchy was as the debate got started, they would commonly hiss. And then they would laugh, and it was something out of a horror movie.
Wow!
I mean, you would think Satan himself was up there chuckling, and just the hisses of serpents. And
wait, while they were sorry to interrupt, man, but I just want to clarify. While they were talking about this abortion bill, debating the intricacies of the abortion bill itself,
in the chamber,
they're cackling, laughing in the back.
Oh yeah, all up in the galley.
Goodness.
And anyone who makes any type of pro-life statement. They would commonly just chuckle or they would hiss.
Wow,
hiss!
And then there were probably
actual hissing.
Oh yeah, there were probably 20 or 30 Democrats who actually stood up and then turned their backs to even hearing the bill.
Wow,
which is clear violations of House rules.
Clear violation of humanity, Colton. Come on,
absolutely. And but what was so staggering is there were members there who had been in that chamber for 15, 20 years, and they said that they had never seen that in 15 or 20 years, and it was to them the most important bill that they had ever voted on in their entire tenure. So they're like, "We voted on this, we can go home now."
If that doesn't paint a clear divide right there against what you were voting for and the people that were against it, that you're talking about saving the life of innocent babies and there's people hissing.
30,000 babies in Georgia.
Wow.
Hey, and Colton, unfortunately,
so Georgia is the eighth state for abortions right now in the United States.
Wow.
8th state. Hey, we're up against this break right now. If last segment coming up here,
and we've got some good news for you when we get back from the break.
Pam has a very interesting question for you after the break, Colton, so stick around for us. I'll put Colton back on hold here. Again, the website is coltonmoore.com. Georgia State House Representative, District 1. This guy's a rising star of the Republican Party. Definitely want to keep an eye on him. 8:51. Be right back.
Man, I'm telling you, bro. But the more I hear from this kid, the more I'm a believer in him. And I keep calling him a kid because, Frank, dude, he is. Like, you guys could do something serious. All y'all's little crew, man.
Oh yeah, and we put credit to a lot of the reason why this abortion bill came up in the first place. The speaker was not going to have a hearing on it. He was not going to let it go to a vote. But because of the pressure we put on him personally about all his shenanigans he'd been doing, is the only reason why. He threw out, maybe we get Colton to talk about that briefly, because he will. I mean, this was the speaker throwing the conservatives a bone, saying, get off my case, I'll let you vote for the babies.
Jeez, dude. That's just the sickest thing I've ever. Dressing up in the Handmaid's Tale and laughing at freaking
Hissing.
stuff.
Hissing in the balcony of the chamber. That's creepy.
Gross, dude. Just gross. Gross. Kill the babies, but save my animals, right? Good Lord. Look at the image that froze on yesterday's YouTube thing.
That's fantastic.
Hey!
Here's Grant.
Here's my fat cheeks, man. Just torn acorns in it. Dave Ramsey, what a sweet gig. Hey, don't spend money you don't have. Now make me a millionaire. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Bob said let's auction him off.
Yeah, that was funnier. What?
Is he rich like me? Has he taken?
Hey, welcome back to Rindley's, ladies and gentlemen. About 3 minutes left in this break here. Roz, is Pam wanting to come on, by the way? Yeah? Roz, can you bring Pam on so I don't drop them both? That would be catastrophic. Here we go. Let's bring Pam has a question for you, Colton. Colton's on air already yet. Oh, no. Oh, wait, we dropped Colton. That's all right. We'll get him back. Roz said, it wasn't us. Is he calling back into line one, or is that somebody else? It wasn't me.
That's right. Hey, Pam, while I have you on here, I just want to make sure we can do this, and then we'll get Colton's follow-up here in just a second when we get him back on. Pam, what was your question you had for Colton?
What? She doesn't know what she's talking about.
She can't make that executive.
She can't make that up. This is our show. He's a state rep, though, and he's got a good paying job. No siblings. No siblings, and yes, his mom and dad are still together.
But we're getting him back on the line though, because we want to do this live here together.
Yeah, I want him to be able to answer.
He'll
for
get a chuckle
himself.
out of this.
Yeah. Hang on, I think Roz is about to bring someone back on air. Roz, do we have Colton back with us? Hold on, she's still answering back there. Is this Colton?
Yeah.
Colton. Hey, we figured this out. Hey, Pam, ask your question to Colton again one more time.
Colton, Roz told me that the date really isn't part of the prize, and you're kind of young for me anyway, but I was wondering if you had, if your dad was still with your mom, or if you have an older brother, an uncle that's not too creepy.
An uncle that's not too creepy.
Yeah, my parents are still together, but I'm an only child, so, you know, it's...
So it's just him. He's all you got.
Is this the dating
No
line?
cousins, anything a little bit older?
Colton, age is just a number, though, man.
Hey, I'm not against it. He might not be. You know, I'm pushing 50 here, huh?
Yeah.
You know, that's a little creepy for him. I might be into it.
Oh, that's awesome, Pam. I appreciate that so much, by the way. Do we going to give Pam one of these prizes or something?
Yeah, she...
Pam gets it. I mean, come on. She went on air. She asked Colton this question. Like, she absolutely gets it.
Do you have a daughter about half your age?
Do I have a daughter?
Yeah, he said you have a daughter about half your age.
No, I have a son that's 4 years old, though.
None of this is
Yeah, that's a little Joe Biden right
Pam,
there.
I got one final question for Colton. I'm going to put you back on hold so I can get Ross to get your information.
Thanks,
Pam, we really appreciate that, by the way.
Yeah, that was great.
Hey, there goes Pam. Colton, real quick, in like the last 20 seconds we have before a break here, what... No, yeah, she's on hold. Yeah,
gotcha.
But the last 20 seconds before we have the break, I want to get your opinion. There's some in Tennessee think that it's not worth pushing a heartbeat bill because inevitably it's going to go through courts.
This is going to be your final closing statements here.
10 seconds. Taxpayer money is going to be spent. Planned Parenthood's going to get multi-millions worth of dollars to fight this stuff. What do you think about that? It's not worth being pushed.
Oh, that's ridiculous. I mean, if one life can be saved, I think it's all justified in this. I mean,
there you go. Hey,
and all of us southern states, we got to stick together on this. So Tennessee, get it together. Georgia's done their part, and we're probably more liberal in Atlanta than you guys ever thought about being.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Tennessee has the most conservative legislature in the country, and they can't get it together on this.
But it really does need to be a coalition of all southeastern states to make. Look, man. I mean, Virginia or West Virginia, which one was it? Getting away with their 40-week ban. New York getting away with their 40-week
Missouri
allowance. I mean, is Missouri pushing one of those too? I mean,
they did months ago.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just the other side. ColtonMoore.com, Georgia State House Rep District 1.
It's been a pleasure this morning.
It really has been.
Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed it.
Yes, sir. Like I said, there goes Colton. ColtonMoore.com. Again, man, meteoric rise here. Person to watch in the Republican Party. Be right back after this break.
Got it. Come and get it. Who's your daddy? Who's your baby? Who's your buddy?
Tell us thanks so much.
I'm a caller. That's hilarious.
That was funny. Good stuff.
And it means that you get a market process that leads to lower prices and better care over time.
Alluded to there, they're going to want to make money, and so that is very, very normal. And so I don't think that was the right way to approach it, and it was originally a Heritage Foundation plan to.
This is an awful debate between Cenk Unger, the guy who is heading up the Young Turks, and Ben Shapiro. I'm really not even sure where I'm leaving you all with this. I just have nothing left. Actually, whatever. Let me read you with. I'll just leave you with Jordan Peterson's best comebacks. That'll probably be
culture. And I ain't seen nobody be a bigger snowflake than white men who complain.
Mommy, they won't let us play and have everything we used to have under the old regime where we were racist and supremacists and dominant and patriarchs and hated gays and lesbians and transsexuals. That, yeah, you gotta share. This ain't your world, this is everybody's world. And let me get my...
Good point. Jordan, let's have you jump in on this idea of what you see as the pernicious danger of groupthink when it comes to ethnicity, when it comes to gender. Why do you think that's one of the primal sins, in your view, of quote, political correctness?
Well, I think it's one of the primal sins of identity politics players on the left and the right, just to be clear about that. Personally, since this has got personal at times, I'm no fan of the identitarian right. I think that anybody who plays a game, a conceptual game where group identity comes first and foremost, risks an exacerbation of tribalism. It doesn't matter whether it's on the left or the right.
Allow him to see clearly the issues that are before us.
But that is to be complicit in the very problem itself terminologically. You're beginning at a point that's already productive and controversial. You're saying, how can he get his equality back? Who are you talking about? Jordan Peterson? Trending #1 on Twitter? Jordan Peterson? With an international bestseller? I want him to tweet something out about me in my book. Jordan Peterson, right? This is what I'm saying to you. Why the rage, bruh? You're doing well, but you're a mean, mad white man. And you're going to get us right. And I have never seen so much wine and snowflaking. There's enough wine in here to start a vineyard.
And with regards to my privilege or lack thereof, I mean, I'm not making the case that I haven't had advantages in my life and disadvantages in my life like most people. You don't know anything about my background or where I came from, and it doesn't matter to you because fundamentally I'm a mean white man. That's a hell of a thing to say in a debate.
Let me just say,
very, very brief, because I want to move on to men and women.
The mean mad white comment was not predicated upon my historical excavation of your past. It's based upon the evident vitriol with which you speak and the denial of a sense of equanimity among combatants in an argument. So I'm saying again, you're a mean mad white man and the viciousness is evident.
Okay. Let's reset. Change the decks here. Let's talk about another big factor.
Well, I think I'm going to point out two things again. The first is that my question about when the left goes too far still hasn't been answered. And then the second thing I'm going to point out is that, you know, it's conceivable that I am a mean man. You know, I mean, maybe I'm meaner than some people and not as mean as others. I think that's probably more the case. But I would say the fact that race got dragged into that particular comment is a better exemplar of what the hell I think is wrong with the politically correct left than anything else that could have possibly happened.
Yeah, it was funny. Imagine the hurt, the anxiety, the insult that you might genuinely feel, according to what I felt was an appropriate comment of description at the moment of its expression. But imagine now those hurt feelings and okay, you feel great. You feel great about it.
It's really different. I'm not a victim. I'm not hurt.
You're not hurt. Okay, you wouldn't be a victim. So what's interesting is that whatever non-traditional feelings of empathy you endure at this particular point, the point is, imagine then the horrors that so many others have had to put up with for so long when they are refused to acknowledge their humanity. Now, I take your point seriously.
So your group
let me finish. Let me finish though. Let me finish.
To me.
Let me finish, sir.
That figures.
You're not my inquisitioner, okay? What I'm saying to you is that we need to an indigenous or First Nations community where we're able to engage in some of the lovely conversation, but also to listen and hear. And when I added race to that, I was talking about the historically evinced inability to acknowledge others' pains equally to the one that they are presently enduring. So, as a human being, I love you as my brother, but I stand by my comment.
Well, I've seen the sorts of things that you're talking about. I happen to be an honorary member of an indigenous family, so don't tell me about what I should go see with regards to oppression. You don't know anything about me.
You don't know me. It's not our new voice. Oh, Ray. What you talking about, Ray?
Hey, what did the cell say when his sister stepped on his foot?
The cell, C-E-L-L? I don't know.
Mitosis.
Yeah, I like it.
I thought you would like that.
You know, my sister's favorite joke of all time is, where does a king keep his armies? In his sleeveys. That's why she likes it so much. Where does a king keep his armies? In his sleeveys. You know, super offensive joke that my mother likes?
Sure.
No, it's not super offensive. It's not. There was these two rednecks sitting outside on the porch, you know, drinking a Bud Light or whatever. There's a dog out in the yard, as dogs tend to do. He's licking himself, right? And one redneck turns to the other one and says, "Man, I wish I could do that." The other one turns back and says, "That dog would bite you." It's my mother's favorite joke of all time.
That's funny.
This guy has a cool job here, man.
I'm fat, but I identify as skinny. I'm trans slender.
That would probably fly nowadays. All right.
Oh yeah, there's a show.
Yeah. 9:08 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. Eric saying on Facebook we should have a dad joke contest. I think that's true.
Okay.
I think we'd be good at it.
Okay.
Hey, okay. Hey, all the social media stuff, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Just type in Real News Radio to all your search bars there. Find us. We also have a new series going on the YouTube channel. It's called The Station. The Station, sort of a docuseries / vlog, if you will, of all the cool, fun stuff we do behind the scenes
Supposed
here.
to be like The Office.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
But it's called The Station.
It's called The Station,
so it's
yeah.
better.
Nick, he never posted the wheelbarrow.
Hey, so you still didn't get that. I still haven't seen that yet.
I have it. I need to send it.
Oh, okay.
I'll post
Excuses.
it. I'll just give you the
The
thing
mediocrity that's going on
That
right now.
one was good. That one was good.
I think it was more like a buggy, less like a wheelbarrow.
Yeah. Whatever it was, I broke it.
Yeah.
Bob's wanting to know who our last guest is. Colton Moore.
Representative Colton Moore, District 1 from Dade County, Georgia. He is a one-term, so far, representative in Georgia, up-and-coming star in the Georgia Republican Party.
And for those that need to know, it's COLTONMOORE. Maybe didn't need to spell that, but there it is.
Go there and write him a check.
Yeah, that's right, ColtonMoore.com. I mean, look, man, he's 25 years old, has decades upon decades left of doing great stuff for Republicans in general. I'm just going to go ahead and say it here. I have no idea who this guy is. I've never met him before, but I would be surprised to see him stay at a local level for too long. That's just my opinion, man.
Yeah, and I can personally vouch for him. I'm a close personal friend of his for over a decade now. And he's a great guy. true conservative. Several times, if you look at vote count in Georgia on a bill, and if you see 170 to 1, the one that voted no is typically Colton. He doesn't care how the masses are voting or how something else is going. He votes what he thinks how he should be voting, and typically brings a few other conservatives, and he finds them a backbone. Actually, we should have asked him about this. He's one of the founders of the Freedom Caucus in Georgia.
Yeah, that's cool.
They started their own Freedom Caucus, which kind of holds the Republican Party accountable. So he's doing a lot of great things there just in one session so far.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about the Georgia heartbeat bill, about the Tennessee heartbeat bill, and I really want to hone down in a little bit on what, and we probably can't get this audio clip back up soon enough to put it on Patreon or anything else, but I wish we could repeat a little bit of just rehashing what he said.
Oh, what happened then?
Yeah, of the people dressing up as a Handmaid's Tale and hissing and the laughter and stuff, and we'll get into all this stuff as well. And 865-888 talk 865.
If you want to talk about it,
888-8255. I also want to know, look, if you're in the 89th district, I don't want to focus too much on the Lafferty issue. I don't want to focus too much on what did Richard say? Was it Dunn?
Yeah, Bill Dunn.
And I want to say, hang on a second here. That was the wrong thing. John Adams, one day when I was out last week, I want to say like last Friday. Yeah, it was Bill Dunn. John had Bill Dunn on, interviewed Dunn about the reasoning for voting just present as opposed to voting yes for this heartbeat bill. I want to get into what it means for Tennessee, what you make of this, and someone call in and tell me if I'm wrong. If you're in Lafferty's district, if you know the reasoning behind this, the best I understand the reasoning behind why voting present as opposed to voting yes for the Tennessee heartbeat bill is essentially, tell me if I'm wrong, Nick, is basically that it's inevitably going to go through the court systems, which will require taxpayer money, which also then will require Planned Parenthood to get involved, and Planned Parenthood has funding on top of funding on top of funding, and you just don't want to give Planned Parenthood yet one more reason to, okay, Richard said that interview was about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Yeah, thank you, Richard. But you don't want to give Planned Parenthood yet one more reason to garner any more funds.
Well, that's what I'm hearing is the reason for that is that he's saying that basically it's going to be a court fight and it's just going to give Planned Parenthood more resources. And I want to have him on about this issue so we can talk to him one-on-one. So I don't want to put too many words in his mouth or bash him about something. This is Representative Justin Lafferty, who I'm talking about here, who voted present, Republican that voted present on the heartbeat bill. But at least on the surface, that seems like a little bit of an excuse, even if that is his actual thinking. So you're telling me that we should vote present on stuff or not even support something just because you think there's going to be strong opposition to it?
And to be fair, I try and be as fair as possible when we're talking about especially local politicians that we don't give them the opportunity to be in while we're talking about the decision.
865-888 talk. They can call in anytime they want to.
But the reason why I say that is because this is where we have some of the best crew working on Real News. Richard Sparza, one of our producers here, just sent me this. These are all the people who voted present for that same bill. Yeah. Dale Carr, Sevierville, Jim Cooley, Wright, Bill Dunn, Patsy Hazelwood, Justin Lafferty, and Pat Marsh. Yeah. So there's more than just a few. There's more than just Lafferty. And
and I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, but he's a Knoxville guy. Is the reason why I'm hyping so much on him, and newly elected, and supposed to be more libertarian, conservative kind of ideals on this. And especially when you're a first-term representative, I'm pretty disappointed in this vote. That to me, that's a litmus test on issues, and he should have voted yes on this. I don't like the reasoning, and I'm trying to hold back on this a little bit because, again, we haven't had him on the show to talk about this specifically, but I'm rather disappointed, and I think a lot of other people are as well in Knoxville. I've been seeing a bunch of posts about it and conversations about it, about him voting present. That just seems kind of weak to me. You should have voted yes to on this heartbeat bill.
And see, and this is where Richard just texted me too, saying, "Why are you focusing so much on Lafferty?" I think Nick just answered that, saying,
"He's a Knoxville guy."
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And first term,
at least within our terrestrial range, out of the people that I just mentioned, Dale Carr, Jim Cooley, Bill Dunn, Patsy Hazelwood, Justin Lafferty, and Pat Marsh. Those, it just so happens to be the Lafferty is probably that's within at least some of our terrestrial range, either with the FM or the AM 760.
It's topical.
But I will say this too before we get to Ray's call here. Subheading says misinformation. Before we get to Ray's call, I will say this is where Mr. Crawford and I take a bit different stance. Coming from the background that I have, frankly speaking, I totally, completely understand the reasoning behind voting present. Now, that's not necessarily to say that I support that reasoning, but I do absolutely understand if that's the reasoning why you put forward. Richard said Martin Daniel as well. I think that he vote present also. Maybe that's what was going on.
But he wasn't on that list.
Oh, I don't know. We'll figure that out in a second. But look, I mean, at the same time, I get it, man. I do. Look, every single time, and I'm saying, I'm not exaggerating when I say every single time. I mean every single time a state has tried to bring something forward that was 15 weeks or less. This is 8 weeks. 15 weeks or less. Inevitably, it's shut down at some level. Now, the component
so that
to
means
consider
we just shouldn't
here,
do it?
Well, here's what I'm saying. The component to consider is how far up the legal chain do you go before it is inevitably shut down? Is it a federal? Is it an appeals court? Is it all the way?
Well,
to
and that's
the
kind of
Supreme
what I'm
Court?
going for. I want all these southern states to pass this because I think it should eventually go to the Supreme Court. I want a Supreme Court ruling on this. I'm kind of looking forward to it being struck down in court and maybe this happening enough to where the Supreme Court will pick this up and will rule on it, especially the way the Supreme Court is right now. I would think we'd get a favorable ruling of either saying, one, a state can do this, or two, just throw it back to the states and say a federal court can't decide on this, and I don't know, let's let states decide and rule themselves, and they can vote what they want to vote on. I just don't agree with voting present or voting no on something just because you think there's going to be backlash, just because you think it's not going to end up going the wrong way. Colton Moore said exactly my thoughts on it. He said, even if this saves one life for one day, for one time, was it not worth it? That I think there needs some explaining here on why anybody that calls themselves a conservative, calls themselves pro-life, that believes in the sanctity of life, would not vote anything but yes on this bill.
Yeah, apparently, let's see, Daniel did vote present as well.
Okay, then I say the same thing about him.
Right.
I don't care that it's Justin Lafferty. I've got no beef with Justin Lafferty. I'm saying any representative that voted no or voted present on this that's not a Democrat, because that's expected, has some explaining to do. And if your answer really is because you think Planned Parenthood's going to get more funding, I think that's an excuse. Fine. Then why don't we go after Planned Parenthood's funding? Why not? So what you're saying is you're not going to vote yes on something that you think is a good bill and does the right thing because you think your enemy's going to get something out of it. Why don't we vote correctly on this bill and then go after the problem you're trying to fight? This is weak, that you're just going to do this just to make sure that you don't cause a ruckus and get someone else to get something you don't like.
Well, I have a different opinion on that, and just to play sort of a hypothetical debate as if Mr. Crawford and I were actually state reps right now, I want to hit this break and come back with what I might see as a potential argument from the other side. John just said in Facebook, it said that a law has to be passed to keep babies from being slaughtered in the womb, and I want to consider as well,
isn't it?
Legislation could do one thing.
You've got to think about that?
Well, legislation could do one thing to legally set a standard, but does it also set a standard to change hearts and minds about how people feel about abortion? When you have people dressing up as the Handmaid's Tale
and hissing
and booing, is a piece of legislation really going to
present
change
on something like that?
But is a piece of legislation really going to change how those people feel?
I don't care how they feel. I want it to be illegal.
I hear you. 9:18 in the morning. Hit this first break. Come back with possibly Ray's call and more on this. Be right back.
I mean, I understand people hit the tendency for us not wanting us to hit Lafferty hard on this, but at the same time, dude, it's like it shouldn't necessarily matter if you're a first term or a 20th term or whatever it is.
You voted president. That's weak. Like Richard, I mean, I know you like Lafferty, but so we're supposed to not hit people hard. If Tim Burchett voted president on this, I'd be hitting him hard.
Bill above their bill didn't get enacted. Yes, I know.
So that's an excuse again, though. So you still just vote president on it? That's stupid.
Well, what if Lafferty came in from the perspective of, look, what we need to do is change literally we literally need to save these people first and then start considering. There's no way they're ever going to be behind.
That's never going to happen.
Ray's saying that you guys were saying misinformation, so he's going to come on.
He always says that. Misinformation about.
Want to go on and burst their bubble, and I was like, oh no, you will. It's okay.
Did you say misinformation about what?
Something that you had said and something that you had said. So
what was it?
I don't know.
Did he say about like the heartbeat bill? Or?
Yeah, I know that's one of them, but I don't remember who it was that he said.
I can never understand Ray's. I can't nail him down on what his opinion on abortion is. I've never quite figured that out.
Just don't know if like he's still hungover from last night. Or really what's going on.
I think his whole thing is a bit like, I've heard it said before that, I've heard some Republican friends of ours say this before, that, look, unfortunately, we just live in a day and age where it's commonly accepted, and women are going to do it anyways, so you have to make it legal because they're going to go to some back alley or do it with a coat hanger or something.
And then I take the argument of, even if that's true, if we stop, let's say 100,000 abortions a year, and by making it illegal, it goes down to 20. Well, was that 80,000 still not worth it? I mean, so what if 20 are still doing it? We stopped 80 from people that wouldn't do it if it's not in a hospital or something. I think that's worth it.
Yeah,
it's worth it for
15
one.
seconds.
938-0314. Located on Old Callahan Road or at windowworld.com. Window World.
Hey, Facebook, what do you guys think Window World sells?
This is House Bill 77, right?
Tennessee's?
Yeah.
The most recent article I found from New York Times from March 7th, it's 77, House Bill 77. 77? House Bill 77? Hey, here's the trivia question of the day, Facebook. If you can tell me what Window World sells, you get a date with Nick.
What?
Yeah, there you go.
What was it?
If you tell me what Window World sells.
This is my heartbeat song and I'm gonna play it. Been so long.
(9:21 in the
morning. Welcome back to Real News. I'm going to hold off on playing the other side here in just a minute in our hypothetical debate. If you have just joined us, Real News audience, 865-888-TALK. That's 865-888-8255 is the Crown Plaza call-in number. We're talking a myriad of other things, primarily dealing with Tennessee's heartbeat bill because we had Representative Colton Moore of Georgia State House Representative District 1.
They just passed that controversial bill down there and talking about how the opposition was hissing, and he called Satan cackling in the House chamber while voting was going on. He said he didn't talk. He told me this earlier. He didn't talk about it today on the show. He said there was a representative that made the statement, name me one case, no matter what it is, if it's under rape or incest or whatever it is, name me one case where abortion does not end the killing of a child. And he said in that statement, the entire group up in the balcony that was talking about this cackled.
Oh,
said it sounded like a witch's screech immediately. Does that not show you what we're fighting against here?
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to hold off on my analysis for a little bit because it's going to take me probably about 2 minutes to really play this out. But that right there really encompasses the entirety of
clear.
But what I'm saying is that encompasses the rationale of these individuals that just voted present. I'll explain that all in just a minute, but we want to get to Ray's call here first. If you have an opinion on any of this, it's 888-TALK, 888-8255. Put an 865 in front of those numbers. Ray.
Also, if Pam can call back really quick. I didn't get her information.
Oh yeah, Pam, you got to get your prize.
Yeah, Pam, get your prize.
If not, I'm going to eat those cookies.
Unfortunately, I guess the Colton Moore date's not a part of it, but it's the massage.
Well, the travel probably would never work out, and it was going to be the long distance.
Long distance relationships, man. That's what it is. Ray, your subheading here says misinformation. What's on your mind, buddy?
Good morning, Mr. Henry, Mr. Crawford.
Morning, Ray.
Going all the way, I got 2 points. Going all the way back to the first hour with Stempy's call. That's not how recall initiatives are done. You just can't go out there and have people mail in forms.
You mean Recode Michael's call? Sorry, man, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just want to make sure the audience is following. You're talking about when Recode Michael called
about getting Recode on the ballot?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was Stempy.
No, that was Recode Michael. But either way, yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Point still stands.
Yeah, all of that is misinformation. That's fake news. You have got distribution requirements, and since the city of Knoxville is one of the 17 cities that have a home rule charter, they follow the state constitution, but they are allowed to amend it as long as it allows more protection for the citizen. So to have this effort go out and say we're going to go in ways that are not possible, that's misinformation. The only way to do it, because if you go out there and you get your list, you got to have the questioning approved, you got to have the forms approved, and every signature has to be approved. And let me tell you, one problem that I had about doing an initiative is that if John Doe signs my petition, but on his voter registration it says Jonathan Doe, it's kicked out. So you're going to need at least 21,000 votes, if 21,000 signatures to come close of getting 7,000 signatures.
Well, that's
approved.
what they always say, right? Is anytime you're talking about a signature campaign, you want to, what is it, double or triple the signatures needed because of stuff like that? Triple, yeah.
Yeah, and Ray, and I'll tell you this, I don't know what the law is in Tennessee or at least in Knoxville on initiatives like that, but there's that. I'd have to look into that. But my biggest concern is typically the reason why municipalities and counties do initiatives is most people just vote yes on them. Most of the time, if they want something done.
But that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about votes. We're talking about getting it on the ballot.
Right, but I'm saying if it did eventually get on the ballot, I'm a little leery of that because a lot of times they do just pass through anyway.
Well, let me ask you Richard Esparza sent me a Facebook message yesterday when we were talking about this a little bit, saying that the workshop is tomorrow on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. at the City Council building here. But the actual vote itself is in mid-May. Now, does that do anything for you, being that it's, April 3rd right now, that we have probably about a month and a half if we were to try and push this before the vote? And I don't know, maybe the vote's not necessarily, you get what I'm saying? Maybe we don't need to do it before the vote. I don't understand the intricacies of this yet. I need to figure that out. But let's say middle May is the deadline. We could potentially have about a month and a half to set something up like this, garner the signatures, make sure everything is I's dotted, T's crossed, so to speak. You think we could do in that timeline?
Yes, it can. It can be done in that timeline. What we did here in Oak Ridge was a little under 2, and we got the signatures needed. It was close because, like I said, the name thing is really, really wrong. If they can't read the address, it gets kicked out. Everything is scrutinized at that level. So Recode Michael has got a lot of work. He's going to need volunteers because the only way we did it here in Oak Ridge was through all the volunteers that stepped up.
Right.
And that was an unbelievable movement. We had those batter stick signs in everybody's yard.
Well, now, again, hopefully with the outreach and maybe this program or a Facebook audience reach or the app or anything else, we could do something about that. And I don't want to push you along too much here, but we've got 3 minutes. I know you had a second point. Second point you want to make.
The second one, Mr. Crawford is wrong. The heartbeat bill is not sitting on the governor's desk. It's sitting in judicial committee. And it's not going to come out of there until April 9th. So,
Ray, I misspoke on that. I meant to be talking about the Georgia bill when I made that comment. We had more on, not the I didn't know where the Tennessee bill was. I just knew it had passed March 7th. There was an article about it passing in the House, but the Georgia bill is on the governor's desk. So I apologize if I misled on that.
Duly noted, and I may have been wrong listening because there's a lot going on this morning. Now, to get further into the heartbeat bill, what Mr. Lafferty's talking about and what you guys are attacking about is one issue. And if you've ever gone through medical procedures, you understand there's more than one issue when we're talking about the health care of a person. And once the state gets involved into these abortions, like this bill is going to do, it definitely dives state legislator into abortions. We are now into it hot and heavy. You get one person with the state-funded abortion review inside a clinic, a hospital, wherever this bill is going to put it. You get one person to file a lawsuit that, hey, something went wrong with this procedure. It totally shuts down that part, but the abortions will continue. And it will continue without that. So you're opening up a Pandora's box by creating a heartbeat bill without discussion, without any kind of mediation or cooperation between the medical field and the legislators. You're opening up a Pandora's box that's going to shut it down. Working.
So if I'm following correct here, Ray, you're saying that in the case of another medical procedure or something's going on and they're deeming they need an abortion or they're wanting an abortion in that case?
No. I'm talking about a woman goes in there, follows the law to get an abortion and something...
Under the current law?
No, under the heartbeat bill. Something goes wrong within that procedure because the state's there with her now.
Okay.
You know, the way it is now, the state's not in there. But when you do the heartbeat bill, the state is in that procedure. So
you're saying
room.
If under the heartbeat bill, if someone goes in and has an abortion while it's still legal before a heartbeat is detected and something goes wrong with the operation?
No. There's going to be a whole list legislated out of what has to be done inside that practice. If you don't have one of those checklists checked off, that patient has a right now to sue the state. And what it's going to do, it's going to shut down that provision, that part that went wrong. And the abortions will still continue, but without that provision. That's what Justin Lafferty is trying to tell you, that there's court issues that go into every single detail of a medical procedure. And if we don't discuss every single one of them, we could be opening it up that abortions could be free willy. Free willy here, if we don't get this right. So to sit there and bash Mr. Lafferty, Representative Lafferty, is not the right thing to do. We need to sit down and talk to him and figure out what he's seeing and why did he vote present.
I hear
That's
you.
all I'm saying.
Yeah, Ray, we got to hit this break, buddy. I always appreciate your calls. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thank you. Bye.
Hey, let's hit this news break, come back with a little bit of our commentary on Ray's call here. I want to lay out my analysis as well as what I believe, the people that voted president, the reasons why they voted president, and then expound a little bit upon. I'll take Ray's side on this, and Mr. Crawford will take the other side on this. We'll play this all out for the next 2 segments. Be right back.
I don't understand at all what Ray was saying.
I think what he was saying
trying
is
to give him the chance to clarify.
it sounded like what he was saying, and Ray's probably on Facebook, so he can correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like what he was saying is when and if Tennessee passes this piece of legislation, there is going to be a sense of miscommunication between the legislators and the legal side and the medical component that are, or the medical people that are actually performing this procedure that don't necessarily fully comprehend the legislation. So inevitably there's going to be some crossover or mix-up where the abortion provider, the one actually performing the procedure, may or may not do something that's against this new piece of legislation because it just, the medical community has not had time yet to catch up to what this bill is.
So put a grace period in there when there, I mean, all kind of legislation like that, where it's like you have this many days to get on practice with it. That's how it always works. That it's not the second it's passed you got to follow it. There's always a 90 days to be compliant or something like that. I mean, if that's what he's talking about, if medical industry is not going to understand the law, so then they'll sue the government.
I think so, and then at the same time too, I think we also need to.
Okay, so put a grace period in there and say you got this many days to follow this, and if not, after that, you got to get your. Okay, so. That's the same argument for any law about medical stuff. That if the doctor doesn't understand it or something, there could be some kind of malpractice or something, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a general malpractice argument is what he's making.
Right, and I think at the same time, too, I think there might be a misconception. I'm looking through the bill right now, and I haven't had time to figure this out, but I'm pretty sure...
It takes out case of emergency. It takes out... You know, if deemed necessary by the doctor.
Right, but if there's ever any liability to be held, it would be against the person performing the procedure, not against the person seeking the procedure.
Never. It's always against the doctor.
Right. So as far as the person asking for the procedure to be done, I don't know if they would ever have any real standing of a procedure being done incorrectly, or let's say it happened after the 8 weeks or something like that.
It's never on the patient for abortion.
Right. And still, I mean, like I said, Tennessee's
arguing that under this bill, if someone went in for an abortion, they had the ultrasound, there was no heartbeat detected yet, they had the abortion, and then the doctor performed it incorrectly, that the state could be sued because of the time span they gave it to where it could happen?
I don't know. I think so, possibly. It sounded like that's what he was saying, but at the same time...
a technical argument.
But that's the interesting thing, is it would never be the person that was seeking the abortion.
It would be the doctor.
Or it would be the state itself that would seek a criminal charge against the one performing.
What would be a hypothetical situation where the doctor would sue the state?
No, I don't think that would happen. No,
it would be the state coming down on the doctor saying, hey, you.
But Tennessee's bill, I'm fairly certain, is pretty clear about it being right at 8 weeks. Now, I don't know how you determine that.
I thought it said, it says gestational period.
Okay,
8 weeks.
as it'd be detected as early as 6 weeks. Okay, so it would have to be something that could detect that.
There's got to be a ultrasound. If there's no heartbeat detected, you're good. But the second there's a heartbeat detected, you're not good. And it says specifically describes what heartbeat is in a rhythmic, wherever.
All right, I'm going to have to recant that a little bit because when we had Colton on, I think I made the statement that it was right at 8 weeks with Tennessee, which probably is wrong because New York Times is reporting that it is just whenever the heartbeat is detected.
Yeah, steady or repetitive rhythmic contraction of the fetal heart with the gestational sac. So saying when that's a medical, I mean, it's. Yeah, I don't know if I'm following that or buy that argument. So how would we fix that? I mean, if his concern is doctors suing the state over this law, again, so we just shouldn't pass stuff because someone's going to sue?
I don't know. Hang on, let me see what.
And if they sue the state, would that not be handled at the state level?
2 Democrats voted yes. That's interesting.
Who are they?
John Mark Wendell of Livingston and John DeBerry of Memphis. Tennessee Smokies. Oh, dude, I hate the Washington Post. I hate y'all so much. I already hate you. I'm certainly not going to pay you $1 to read one article.
See about the 75 bridge collapsing in Chattanooga?
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That whole intersection's been awful for years.
9:37 in the morning. Welcome back to Real News, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're talking Tennessee heartbeat bill. This is playing off of when we had Representative Colton Moore, Georgia State House Representative from District 1, talking about Georgia's heartbeat bill. Yes, Bob, it is. That's right. Answering a question from Bob in Facebook. You have to go to Facebook to figure out what question Bob asked me, where the answer is yes. Just type in Real News Radio to your Facebook search bar. It's a little plug for the...
Oh, goodness.
Hey, let me get back into this.
Funny.
I want to try and expound upon what Ray is saying, but I want to put some context on it so I don't speak for Ray. I hate doing that for people. Here's what we have from NoxTNToday.com. This is coming from March 12th, 2019, but it kind of answers the question as to why a few of these Republicans voted present. There was actually 2 Democrats that did vote for this bill in Tennessee. One more thing, too, I have to recant on and correct. I believe, I'm not sure, I have to listen back to the show, but I'm fairly certain I said that Tennessee has a strict standard of 8 weeks. That is actually incorrect. So says the New York Times, reporting on March 7th. Tennessee House of Representatives passed a bill on Thursday, that's March 7th again of this year, passed a bill on Thursday that would ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, mimicking laws in other states that have been struck down by the courts and drawing the criticism of both advocates and opponents of abortion rights. The measure, House Bill 77, would tightly restrict the window of time within which a woman could seek an abortion because a fetal heartbeat can be detected as early as 6 weeks into pregnancy. So that point being is, the bill, which is part of the category anti-abortion measures, yada, yada, called heartbeat bills. Right, so it is an actual, did you have the language there still pulled up, by the way, of
what is considered a heartbeat?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, fetal heartbeat means cardiac activity or the steady and repetitive rhythmic contraction of the fetal heart with gestational period.
So New York Times is reporting that could happen as early as 8 weeks. I mean, I don't know if you go into week 8 or 9, then that's probably going to...
So it's not setting a time frame. It's saying this,
6 weeks,
the second the ultrasound detects heartbeat, and it describes what heartbeat is, which is cardiac activity or what you would consider a heartbeat rhythmic activity. That's what they're considering it. So it could be 6 weeks, it could be 10 weeks, it could be 8 weeks. It's just when it's detected. And it also says on here that the healthcare provider that is doing the ultrasound has to give the option to the patient to show them the heartbeat on the ultrasound to prove to them that there is a heartbeat.
Right, and so I want to be as accurate as possible and recant what I said before. It's not a strict 8 weeks is whenever the heartbeat's detected. Now, getting back in, give me about 2 to 3 minutes to make this point, and then I want Mr. Crawford's opinion, your opinion as well, if you have a different opinion. 865-888-TALK, 865-888-8255, the Crown Plaza call number. Here it is, about 2 or 3 paragraphs coming from KnoxTNtoday.com. If you want to follow along, the headline is Republicans split on fetal heartbeat bill. That's as of March 12th. Here it is. You know something is wrong when a bill to restrict abortions is opposed by people like State Representative Bill Dunn and former state, former state representative who's the head of, former state senator who's the head of Family Action Council of Tennessee, going on to say that Fowler is a lobbyist on social issues from anti-gay marriage to anti-abortion. Dunn put up a blue light, meaning he was present but not voting, as did 6 of his colleagues. Now, they asked the question, what gives? Dunn and Fowler and Lieutenant Governor Randy McNally point out that the bill has flaws. It is not carefully crafted and is almost certain loser when it gets to the courts, as it inevitably will be a certain loser, of which I agree, and I think Mr. Crawford agrees with that point as well, too. And the result will be an award of huge attorney fees to Planned Parenthood, the nemesis of conservative Republicans everywhere. Similar bills have been overturned in North Dakota, Iowa, and Arkansas just recently. If a federal judge gets to looking at a case concerning Tennessee abortion laws, it is highly likely that some restrictions that the Right to Life movement has put in place could be thrown out as well. Dunn prefers, here's where Dunn's coming from, and I would presume most of the other Republicans as well, Dunn prefers that the legislature pass a bill that bans abortions, period, outright. And should Roe v. Wade be overturned by the U.S. Supreme Court, abortions would be outlawed in Tennessee. There's no one in the legislature who has been there longer than McNally. Dunn is a veteran not only of the legislature, but also the issue of abortion. Why then did 60-some-odd Republicans and the House members ignore the warning and rush to fetal heartbeat bill to passage? Now, here's what I'm seeing as well. I'm reading into this a little bit. Well, what I'm seeing is everyone like Dunn and these seasoned veterans, if you will, and possibly Lafferty, who's seeing the writing on the wall from the seasoned veterans, are noticing this is going to fail. Obviously, it's going to fail whenever we get this, whether it's at the federal level, the appellate level, if it goes to the Supreme Court, man, it might fail at the state level. And in so doing, we're going to waste a lot of taxpayer money to defend this, and Planned Parenthood is going to get a lot of funding coming back into Tennessee. That's one thing we don't want. Second thing, going back to what Colton Moore told us, Georgia State House Representative, that story he told us of the people standing up in those balconies dressed up as the Handmaid's Tale, hissing and laughing when they were bringing up issues of, when you said, what did you say before, of name one baby that's been aborted that has not been the death of a human life?
Oh, yeah, name one time an abortion doesn't end in the killing of a child.
Right. And the Handmaid's Tale people,
that's what the rep said.
They end up cackling like some sort of like demonic
like they almost enjoyed that.
But yes, like we like killing our kids. I laugh about that. It's humorous to me to kill our children.
He described it as a witch's scream.
Here's the point that I'm making. Exactly. Described it as a witch's scream. Now, here's the point that I'm making. I don't know if this was Lafferty's motivation or Martin Daniels' motivation or Bill Dunn's motivation. I don't know if this motivation was, but the way I see it is that sense of perversion, that sense of a dehumanizing mentality to laugh when a question is posed that you're killing a human, killing a baby, innocent child, an innocent fetus at that point, to laugh at that. A piece of legislation is not going to change the hearts and minds of people. So you take those two things coupled together. It's obviously inevitably going to fail. We're going to waste a lot of taxpayer money. Our nemesis is going to get a lot of money involved. This funding is going to come back to Tennessee. It's going to become a national issue. Oh, and by the way, it's going to do nothing at all to change the mentality of the people that we're trying to change. Maybe a better version of this is to get at the grassroots level, convince these people, you're killing a human being, for God's sakes. You're killing a human being. Try and change their hearts and minds first. Then maybe they can get their head around the legislation. I don't know if that was Lafferty's mentality or not, or Martin Daniels or any of these other people, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying this is my opinion. I can just see it from the other side. I want Mr. Crawford's counter opinion on this as well. Maybe that's what it is. Coupling two things, it's going to fail, and these people are just grotesque, man. Yep. You're not going to change a grotesque person, a delusional individual, through a piece of paper.
Yeah, I've got 2 or 3 things on that. One, the point you just made, you're not going to change a grotesque individual's opinion off a piece of paper. I don't think you're going to change their opinion anyway, and I don't really care what their opinion is. I just want the law to be the law. That if we're going to wait and to change all of these abortion advocates and bring them onto the side of pro-life, then we're not going to get anything done ever. It's not going to happen. People that cackle and screech and applaud at the idea of killing a baby, they're not going to ever change their mind. And if they do, then that's an act of God. That's a miracle for them to change their mind. I'm not waiting to get 100% publicity before we decide to make a law on that. That's not the point of the law. The point of the law is it describes what is right and wrong and what is illegal and legal. It's not about a public opinion poll. If it was a public opinion poll, we'd be 100% democracy and vote on anything and everything that ever came up to ballot. That's not the point of this. The point of this is to make it illegal. And then you prosecute the doctors and the businesses because that's what they are. They're businesses that make money off of killing babies, off of selling baby parts, off of things like that. That's what I want to do. And the point's been brought up a lot about, well, all that's going to do, a lot of conservative people that I know that are still pro-choice say, well, all it's going to do is put women into back alleys and it's going to make them, do all these other procedures. At least we can have them do it in hospitals. One, I would say, well, isn't that kind of a deterrent to say, well, you can't have it, be done at UT Medical. It's got to be done in some back alley somewhere. That might make me think twice before having that performed. But the second point on that is, let's say we have 100,000 abortions in Tennessee a year, okay? Well, if this bill drops it down to 20,000, but those 20,000 are in back alleys, I would count that as a win. Wouldn't you? It doesn't make any sense. All of the opposition I hear to abortion are excuses.
Well, it goes back to what Representative Moore said. One less baby murdered is not, one baby saved.
Is that
right?
not worth it? Is that not worth all of this? That you talk to medical professionals, this whole in case of a life of a mother and things like that. You talk to them now. That doesn't happen anymore. There are several medical professionals that say there is no reason in today's modern technology to have an abortion to save a mother's life. He said that just doesn't happen. I mean, those cases are extremely rare, as in almost don't happen. That's an excuse. Another excuse that I hear is in the case of rape or incest. That is a way to make this bill seem more palatable. This is a way to make the Democrats sort of go on with it more and make it seem like we have a heart. Here's my deal. By saying you can't have an abortion, or you can have an abortion only in the case of rape or incest, you are then creating a system of ethics and morals where you are saying that rape and incest is worse than murder, and that's not what I believe at all. If you're saying you don't have to have this baby because you were raped, I'm not in that situation, but I'm trying to look at it as a moral perspective. So you're saying the best option here is to commit murder? I don't buy that, but I don't want to go down that rabbit hole too much on the actual morality of abortion. One, while we're on that a little bit, that's one reason why I think people should go see this movie, Unplanned, because I think it targets the idea of what we miss a lot.
By the way, one more plug for that. Abby Johnson, who the movie is made about, one of the youngest directors in Planned Parenthood history, clinic director. She's on the show on Tuesday, so definitely want to stick around for that. Anyways, go ahead.
And her story is important because she focuses more on the compassionate side of this. That it's not. I think too many times we look at this as a political issue. This is a people issue with real stories and real impacts that we've got to remember. To bring these people in, people that have had abortions. I know people that have had abortions. I have people very close to me that have had abortions. That you don't demean these people and demonize them and make them seem like the devil if this has happened to them. You understand they were in a situation and this was a choice they made. You react in love to them. But that doesn't mean we make it legal. That doesn't mean we don't have the fight. That doesn't mean that we don't do what is right because we think there's going to be legal trouble down the road. I want there to be legal trouble down the road. I want this to go to the Supreme Court. I want there to be a decision made about this. If either it's a state's choice or to make it to where these states can make these abortion restrictions. I'm tired of living in a country where this is legal. I think this is the worst thing in the history of the United. I think this is worse than slavery. I think this is worse than so many issues because
you're absolutely right.
Because we are killing people, and so many times I hear excuses like, "Well, the kid just wouldn't have had a good life; it had grown up poor or something like that." You think growing up poor or in a bad family is worse than never living at all? What a sorry excuse. You just never want to have the choice for life at all? I think we should have a country that is pro-life, a country that decides, you know what, we're not pro-death in this country. We're pro for the living. We want you to have a shot. We worry about all these other issues that I hear as excuses. Anybody that really you get down to that's pro-choice, it's based off convenience and it's based off excuses.
It is, and I think that, it's the mother that makes the decision to have an abortion. Maybe they wouldn't have had a good life with her, yes, but there's so many people out there that can't have babies and would give, that child the entire world.
Or what if the baby, go on that point, what if the baby for 18 years just has a crappy, what if they are abused and poor and go from house to house, whatever. You're saying that is still better than never living at all?
Well,
I don't buy that.
A lot of people have had lives like that, and hey, now they're actors or they're singers, or they
pro-life advocates.
They've taken that anguish and they've used it, for success in the future.
I know a guy that survived an abortion, that his mother tried to abort him, and he's a motivational speaker today. I believe in the individual, and if it doesn't matter what case or scenario you're in, if you want to get out of it, you'll get out of it.
Hey, 9:50, we got to hit this last break right now. We can come back. I want to hit Mr. Crawford with one final argument here that Bill Dunn was making in particular. That argument being, if you're going to do something like this, you better swing for the fences or not do anything at all. Otherwise, it just seems like it's grandstanding. I'll get his opinion on that when we come back after this break.
This is a stupid argument, Ray.
It's been a good segment. It's kind of written itself.
There are many not so innocent pregnancies out there. You need to address that before writing bills. How about pregnancy defects? Mr. Crawford has the resources to take care of a baby who has no legs and his organs outside the body. All this stuff is known before birth. Yeah, okay, fine. I'm not for government spending, but if it took to save a life, sure, put that on the public dime. To save a baby, all the stupid things we spend money on.
Yeah, John, that's an interesting concept, man. If all the money given to Planned Parenthood went into making it easier to adopt, we probably wouldn't have as many issues. One of the problems there, though, man, is a lot of these adoption agencies are primarily Christian organizations, and they're not allowed to receive federal funding if they discriminate based upon same-sex households.
Let's fix the issues instead of making these excuses. And that's what it comes down to. Okay, so you're worried, you vote no because you're worried about Planned Parenthood getting money. Well, then why don't we stop Planned Parenthood from getting money in the first place?
Yeah, this one I'm going to come back with. This is what's, is it Cagle or Cagle? I'm pretty sure it's Cagle, right? Frank Cagle?
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think so.
Frank Cagle's writing this, saying there are Republican House members who got elected, at least partly, on the abortion issue. They need to pass something. Once they got the bill far enough along, other Republican House members, lacking Dunn's backbone and his credentials, were afraid not to vote for it. They didn't want to have to go home and try to explain their vote because it's complicated, like Lafferty's dealing with now. So the House members passed this bill. So the House members that passed this bill are either cowards or members who put crass political gamemanship over principle. They did not pass the legislation that actually will limit abortions. They passed a campaign brochure and committed the state to expensive litigation almost sure to fail. Then there's also the possibility that some of the members who voted for the bill are just too stupid to live. It sounds like the point that he's making is some of these Republicans that voted for this voted for it just to feel good, just so they could put it on their next campaign going forward. See, I voted for the heartbeat bill, good on you, knowing well ahead of time it was nothing more than just simple grandstanding. It seems like the point's Dunn making is if we're going to do that, we better damn well grandstand for something that's like swing for the fences, bro. Repeal, like no abortions, period, no abortions. Get Roe v. Wade out of there.
Well, I agree with that, but
so you're saying something's better than nothing,
yeah.
Right? Yeah, I hear you.
Because isn't that their kind of argument? Is this isn't very good legislation, so we've got to vote for something, or at least raise that we've got to vote for something good?
See, that's why I'm stuck on it so much, man. It's because, like, okay, fine.
You know how the sausage is made.
I know.
Something in legislation especially is better than nothing, because you never get all of it. I say you start here, and then you tackle it with another one, and then you tackle it with another one.
And here's the other thing is, like, if 8 weeks is inevitably going to fail, well, certainly no abortion is certainly going to fail, but what's the likelihood of you getting a Republican support? I don't know. Maybe you could give some Republican support for totally doing away with abortion altogether, Tennessee. I don't know. Maybe you could.
I think we should. Why should murder ever be legal?
Well, you're right, but see, that would be a piece of legislation that is an absolute direct
Why don't we call it
violation.
End Murder in Tennessee?
No more murder, right?
There's nobody ever told you
Hey, 9:54
in the morning. Welcome back to Real News. KnoxTNToday.com. We're talking about this fetal heartbeat bill, which kind of split some Republicans. Martin Daniel, Justin Lafferty in particular, here, at least in terrestrial waves that we cover through the AM 760 or 92.3 FM on WETR. That's why we're focusing on those folks, because they're in our listening area, I suppose. Anyways, over here at KnoxTN Today, those individuals voted present along with a few others. Please forgive me if I'm wrong. I'm fairly certain it's Frank Hagel, right? Not Cagle. I'm pretty sure it's Frank Hagel. Anyways, he wrote an article, Republicans split on fetal heartbeat bill. I want to get Mr. Crawford's opinion on this in the last 3 minutes we have. This is what he says. There are Republican House members.
This is what Cagle.
Right. This is what. Yeah. Thank you. This is what Frank said at KnoxTNToday.com. There are Republican House members who got elected, at least partly, on the abortion issue. They needed to pass something. Once they got this bill far enough along, other Republican House members, lacking Dunn's backbone and his credentials, were afraid not to vote for it. They didn't want to have to go home and try to explain their vote because it's complicated. This is what Lafferty's dealing with right now, and I suppose Martin Daniel as well. So, Frank continues, the House members who passed this bill are either cowards or members who put crass political gamesmanship over principle. They did not pass this legislation that will actually limit abortions. They passed a campaign brochure and committed the state to expensive litigation, almost sure to fail. Then there's also the possibility that some of the members who voted for this bill are just too stupid to live. Here is what Frank is saying, I believe. Okay, and this is what Dunn's saying. If we're going to vote on something that is inevitably going to fail, you better well swing for the fences. If you're going to vote on something that is going to fail at a state level, federal level, Supreme Court, whatever else, if you're going to go directly against Roe, let's go against Roe. We just said it off air. I'm stealing Mr. Crawford's thunder. Let's make murder illegal in Tennessee. Let's just do away with all abortion. Otherwise, Republicans, all you're doing by voting yes is just some simple grandstanding, just something to put in your campaign brochure the next time you go out. Because there's Republicans that voted yes, knew it was going to fail. If you know it's going to fail and it's worth fighting for, make it at day one. Make it a conception. Do something worthy of fighting for. Mr. Crawford has a very reasonable response to that, though. But
yeah, and I agree with them. I agree. I would like to see Tennessee come up with a bill that absolutely rejects Roe. And I would love to see 50 other states do the and make that go to the Supreme Court and re-look at that, because I think that opinion is wrong. I mean, 9 people on a bench can get something wrong. But here's my point about this. It's legislation. These pie-in-the-sky fairyland people need to get their heads out of the clouds. That's not how this happens. You get little bits and pieces at a time, and you vote yes on the stuff that is more good than it is bad.
You're saying something's better than nothing.
Yeah, Ronald Reagan famously always said, you vote on stuff one slice at a time. You don't get the whole loaf of bread together, but you get it piece by piece, and you get it there. That to say that you don't want to vote for something because it doesn't go far enough is stupid and idiotic. You get what you can get today, and you come back and you fight tomorrow for the rest of it.
You know what that music means. We got to end the show today. Stick around for news, traffic, weather, all that. Glenn Beck follows. Then tomorrow, be back doing it big. Tomorrow's the day, y'all. Tomorrow is the day. A little bit more recode. Be back tomorrow.
So, Mark Lee.
That was good, I think.
I don't get what Ray's saying at all.
What'd y'all think, Facebook? See a doctor? I don't know, man. I've heard that name so many times before, Bob. Frank's name, I'm pretty sure I should know this guy. Has he been in here before? God forbid he's been in here before I met this guy. Richard, has Frank been in here before? Oh, dude, I want to say he was in, like... Richard, are you still in here?
There's so many guests, though.
I know. Dude, I'm pretty sure Frank was in, like, last week or 2 weeks ago. I think he was. Let me see. No, I need a picture of him. He was in! Oh, dude, I feel so bad. All right, well, at least Facebook knows that I forget our guests from time to time. Good Lord. Jeez.
I thought he was on yesterday.
Frank? No, he was in last week, the week before sometime. I think talking about Oh, okay. Yeah, well, whatever. Jeez, I feel bad about that. I'm sorry, man. There's so many people there in the show. I can't.
Don't feel bad.
They're gonna say the same thing.
Hey, you're kind of a big deal.
Yeah, you know. Anyways, Facebook, I'm gonna end it there. Y'all the best in the West and the East. Love y'all as always. Tomorrow, I don't think we have any guests. I'll see if I can get Richard to book some recode person or something. We'll see though. Oh yeah, tomorrow's Conspiracy Theory Thursday. What are we doing for that?
I have a conspiracy theory that it's better to vote for an outright abortion bill than it is for a little one, because that's better.
This guy, Kristen T. Harris, I gave you all stuff yesterday. He's into a lot of futurism, transhumanist stuff. Not that he's into it. He's just researching a lot of it. We might be talking about some of that. Yeah, either way, y'all the best. Love you. Love the likes, shares, all that other stuff. I'm going to do my best today to cut up a bunch of these clips, put on YouTube, Patreon, and everything, and we'll see you later. Peace.